Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. One of the absolutely best times of the year. I tell people this. Hey, you want to separate yourselves from some of the absolute shitty shows that are out there? Come here to Big Sills. But as we always do, we start the program off by doing this. Big Sills! 55 days until the start of training camp. How about this? Look at Prince already starting the program out, taking victory laps with helmets and shorts. Holy shit, is this guy off the rails? My guy's looking great running around playing tag. Wow! Did you see that, Sills? Holy shit! I mean, this guy's going to win the Quez Watkins Award for the most valuable player in helmets and shorts. Wow! From now on, we are going to name the Philadelphia Eagles Quez Watkins Award, and Prince is going to hand out the Quez Watkins Award for helmets and shorts. Congratulations, the Prince Award. Hey, did you see that guy running around playing tag? Unbelievable. I was right. They're not tackling anybody or in full gear. Who cares? Oh my God! He's a stud! Helmets and shorts. And Prince is giving out the Quez Watkins Award of the year. 94 days until the Packer game for the Eagles in Brazil. And we now are in day 2 of the Sirianni minicamp. Hey, Hurts, once again, like we said here, with the, how come Prince ain't doing this? Supposedly, Hurts once again sucked today. Day 2, another bomb day for your quarterback. Oh, Devin White, I was right. Well, you may not be right about Hurts, because if Devin White's a star, Hurts sucked. Okay? Oh my God. Did he really? Yeah, he was up and down. 13 to 18 with a pick. And all underneath passes. Well, this is what I've been told. Okay? Hurts sucked again. But here's Xander and everyone. Don't worry about it. You know, shit. Come on now. Don't worry about it. You're only 55 days to camp. Less than 2 months. Big Sills. Missing already, crying about Zimmer. Love it. 304. Oh my God. 304. I am so happy that 304 is here. Okay? I am so happy. Mr. Perez, Xander fired this dude, put Philly 500 in it and said, they gave me an extra hour, dickhead. Fire me? They want to give me another hour. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? 304. Are you here? 304, I got a question for you. Just a question for you. 304, are you here? Dude, it's not a rip. It's a question. Okay, I'm not going to rip. You know I love you in here, man. By the way, Mark Holmes is going to be here by himself. Philly 500's kids graduating, so kudos to him. Wait a minute here. DFW, Big Sills ain't going nowhere. Hey, listen here. Another Hurts pick to Blankenship. Oh, no! He can't even play catch. DFW. Let me ask you something. And 304. You see Michael Parsons holding. Here's something that really does resonate with me that the Phillies do great. 304, listen, tell me something. So I heard Michael Parsons saying that I'm going to be the highest paid player, non-quarterback in the NFL, and I'll wait my turn. CD's talking about being the highest paid non-quarterback. Dak is not really talking about it, but everyone else is talking about money. Isn't that funny? I never heard one word of money coming out of New England during that entire 20-year run. Nobody was talking about being the highest paid anything. They talked about winning. No position player was talking about getting paid because the Patriots moved off them. There was none of that. All the Cowboys do is talk about who's going to be the highest paid TV star. There lies your problem. There's the problem right there with the Cowboys. The Eagle guys really don't even talk about money. If anybody talks money, it's me. As a matter of fact, Devontae Smith is exactly the prime example. And it's the polar opposite of Dallas. Devontae Smith could have got $10 to $15 million more. Okay? $10 to $15 million more if he waited. Wasn't an issue. In Dallas, it's an issue, money. There's your problem, man. Everybody's self-centered. That's not a team-oriented situation or culture. That's a culture that is fostered in me being me, not we being team. Plain and simple. Dallas Cowboy players are worried about being TV stars and making the most money. People in Philly are not. I mean, all I hear out of Michael Parsons is money. And I get it. But most good teams, I mean, not even, Kansas City kind of went through it a little bit. But they move off of people too. Hey, they make it very clear. Honey Badger, out. Tyreek Hill, out. Snead, out. You want to start barking money? Here's who I think we need. Chris Jones, Kelsey. Rest of you guys, your commodities that will be dealt with when your contracts are up. Hey, one thing that you do keep in Kansas City that you don't in Dallas, you know what that is? Everybody in Kansas City is wondering if we'll get a second deal. Even the corner that they got from Washington, that McDuffie, will he get another deal? I don't know. Kansas City keeps that in limbo, which keeps players on their toes. They may move off him too. CeeDee Lamb's talking about making big money. I mean, everybody wants their money in Dallas. Too bad they don't want championships any longer in Dallas. Hey, it's the facts. They are television stars in Dallas. They are not football players. Every single one of those players will be overpaid and not worth the contracts you give them. Because I'm going to make a point here for a second. Okay? I'm going to make a point here. How many people in here, and I know most of you are Eagle guys. Is Dak a $60 million a year guy? No. Is CD a $35 million a year guy? No. Is Micah Parsons? He's the lesser of all of those two. He's the lesser of the three. And he's going to make he's going to make more money than any position player. And he's going to make more money probably than Justin Jefferson. Let me make a point to you here on this. This is where the Eagles are spectacular. And you do have to give Howie a lot of love here for this. Here, So let me get this right. Christian McCaffrey is making $19 million and Justin Jefferson is making 35. Almost half. Really? Who would you want on your team? Jefferson or McCaffrey? Missing is the only one talking money. CD isn't. I heard CD say he wants to get paid big money too. I honestly think Micah leaves Dallas next year. So how is McCaffrey making $19 million and he does 10 times more than Justin Jefferson? He does 10 times more. 10 times more than that guy does. That guy's not going to help you win a Super Bowl, Jefferson. McCaffrey is. Because he's a multifaceted player. You can line him up wide receiver, he'll get you 1,000 yards. Put him in the backfield, he'll get you 1,000 yards rushing. You're telling me you think Justin Jefferson is more of a value player than that guy is? That can get you 2,000 total yards from the line of scrimmage? Are you out of your mind? That guy will never win or get close to a Super Bowl in his entire pro football career, Justin Jefferson. Never will get close to it. He will never sniff a Super Bowl. And he makes double the money almost? That's value. How in the world is Justin Jefferson making double the money that McCaffrey makes? That's right. McCaffrey's the entire 49er offense. Paul goes, yes, that I agree with. And he should have waited until next season to sign a new deal. D. Smith may have wanted that signing bonus now in 24 instead of waiting until next year. I think what Xander said is absolutely correct. It's not so much the deal. It's the fifth-year option that was added into the deal, which kept him off the market. Okay? Fly Eagle Fanatic is dead on. McCaffrey is the engine to that entire 49er offense. Sills, would you rather have A.J. Brown or Lamb? That's not a conversation. It's not a conversation. It's by far Brown. Dude, put Brown in that slot. He'll have $2,000. Going against safeties versus corners? Come on, man. Jefferson's elite? If Jefferson's elite, what's McCaffrey with 1,000 receiving and 1,000 rushing? What do you call that? What do you call, and I've pointed this out to you, that all of these dude, the entire list of all the big-time money receivers, pre-Tyreek Hill's big deal, Hill ain't going to any Super Bowl anytime soon. Devontae Adams is not going to any Super Bowl anytime soon. Jefferson's not going to any Super Bowl anytime soon. They're not. CeeDee Lamb is not going to any Super Bowl anytime soon. So when you pay these guys, McCaffrey may get back there again this year. He may get back there this year. 2 years in a row he may get. I'll tell you what, he's been to 2 NFC Championship games in a row. Name me any of those wideouts who have been to NFC title games. Okay? How does McCaffrey's contract make Barkley look now? Like, dude, he's another guy. John Ritchie at IP is expecting him to get 2,000 yards this year, Barkley. I get it. That's what you guys think too. John Ritchie expects him to get 2,000. No way. No way. You think he's going to approach 900 yards receiving? and 1,000 yards rushing. Okay. Who are those targets getting taken away from? AJ? No way. Didn't Nick say it the other day that the guy who was targeted the most in practice was AJ Brown? Wasn't Barkley. Richie's out of his mind. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You can do that in Shittsville, New York with the Giants when you have nothing in the huddle. But when you've got Pro Bowlers at every offensive skill set position, you're not doing that. And some would go, well, Sills, what about McCaffrey in San Francisco? He did that. Debo's no 1,000-yard, 1,400-yard receiver. Kittle doesn't get 1,000 yards. Ayuk had the best year of any other player in that huddle. The rest of it was McCaffrey. It was McCaffrey. Are you under the impression that San Francisco puts up the same numbers and their offensive skill set guys that the Eagle guys do? No, they don't. The majority of that offense runs through that guy, CMC. Okay? I thought Barkley was getting 1,500 yards. I never said that. Eagles, Devontae Smith has no regret signing before wide receiver market. Can't be counting pockets of others. Dude, once again, you completely missed the point. You completely missed the point. And I'm not belaboring the point any longer. It's a fucking stupid move. Getting targeted a lot doesn't mean getting force-fed. The guy is always open, and Dak doesn't put the ball in harm's way. AJ's actually force-fed. Some truth to that. Some truth to that. There is. Barkley getting 800 yards and 600 yards passing. C24? That sounds about right. And being a great pass pro back to protect blitzing. That's right. C24 is more, in my opinion, in what you're going to see. And that's an upgrade from what you had with DeAndre Swift. You'll go, but he didn't get $1,000. Yeah, but he got 600 receiving yards. And that 600 receiving yards is probably going to be 56 catches. That's a lot. Compared to in your 3 wide receiver hole, you had what, 36 catches last year? How many catches did Swift have? 20? That's a huge impact. $2,000? Yeah, $2,000 when there's nobody in the huddle. Like, get this. Here, let's do this. If Saquon Barkley played in Kansas City, he'd get $2,000. Receivers are nobodies. The tight end's going to get the majority of the work. And the rest would go to Barkley. And they would run him. Barkley and that Kansas City offense would have a ton of yardage. But when you got A.J. Brown and you got Devontae Smith, dude, you got a lot more people at the dinner table than you do in Kansas City. Common sense. You're not spending that money to downgrade the catches and the targets of Devontae. Wait, putting CD in the slot is like force feeding what are you guys talking about? No, they did force feed AJ because they were only throwing to the numbers a year ago. They weren't spreading that ball around. They threw it to 2 people. That's a fact. You know what is crazy? Jalen Hurts had 1103 snaps versus Purdy's 936 snaps in 23. This guy took less snaps and did more. Spread the ball around more and threw for 4,200 yards. That's insane. Hey, also this one too. Do me a favor. Senor, take a look at the passing attempts. Hurts' passing attempts compared to Purdy's passing attempts. I think it's like 100 difference in the amount of passing attempts that he had. Maybe even 150 less attempts, and he did more. So with less snaps and less attempts in passing, he blew Hurts off the map last year, and he had more wins, and he crushed you on the field. So don't start talking to me about Jalen Hurts being better than Purdy when every single thing he did last year on the field, you weren't in the room with him. You weren't in the room with what that guy did by spreading the ball around. Okay? I mean, I guarantee you, he had maybe 150 less passing attempts. And look at the damage he did. Hurts is better than Purdy? Where? This guy's been to 2 NFC title games in a row, C24. Name me one thing Jalen's done better than Brock Purdy. Give me one thing he's done. One thing. What? He's mandatory minicamp is not till next week with the Jets. I can't believe we signed Rashad Penny and never played him. They did that to keep him away from Dallas. Played good in the Super Bowl. Jesus, criminy. 2 years ago, dude. Give me something new. How about some new content? Instead of Hurts playing good in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. How about that one? You tell me shit like that. How about you guys coming up with something new? How about something new, C24? Give me something new. Senor, Hurts passing attempts. Look at this number. Purdy had 444 passing attempts. Hey, Xander, can you put that stat up for me? Senor's last one, when he put those numbers up for me, if that would be huge for me if you can. Or, Senor, if you can repost that, because I'd like to read that there. He had 444 passing attempts, took less snaps, and threw for more yards and more touchdowns, and spread the ball around in San Francisco, and McCaffrey was a weapon. AJ was getting targeted as the clear-out guy, okay? Senor, put that back. There it is. Senor passing attempts, 538. Purdy, 444. Come on, man. Give me a break. Okay? Give me a break. Hurts made all-pro. Yeah, so did Gardner Minshew last year. Congratulations to you. Quite a club. Quite a club. Does Jalen pass for over $4,000? I don't know. I don't know. Hurts snap wouldn't have been worse if he didn't have the tush push to extend drives and created more snaps. He'd have had more turnovers. Correct. He'd have had more turnovers. Okay? All right. So, I'm being told something now from certain people. And I've got to be careful here because I got some insight on the first day of practice. First day of minicamp, I should say. And it's good to have some folks in the building. No names. And by the way, as I said, Mark Holmes will join us at 3:30. Philly 500 can't today. Jason Cole at 4:30. He'll join us. And as everyone knows, we traditionally put a name on our people. We're not the gossip people that you have in your market when they go anonymous sources. I've already said some of the names that you guys know that I know close that are in that Philadelphia Eagle organization and I talk to daily. And they had some takeaways. Now, some of the wording will be my wording, so I'll make sure that I express to the fact that this is my wording. Okay? Big Sil's first day Eagles minicamp takeaways. Hurts has been up and down. Has not looked sharp. What was the number? If I'm exact here on it, I want to be exact. 13 to 18 and a pick. And most of them were underneath short passes in his first day. If Prince is giving Devin White all-pro status, I guess it doesn't matter to Hurts, right? 13 to 18 with a pick and underneath passes. He was up and down. He was up and down, and he's still learning the system. He's struggling. He's struggling. Okay? Struggling. So, there's one. And quite frankly, this is set up 7-on-7 for success. He hasn't played well in 5 months. At anything he's done, whether it's a game, practice. Get this. Let's put everything and let's be objective. He hasn't done anything well in 4 months. Nothing. Led, practice, game. I'm missing this. And everything's okay. It's not a big deal, right, Sills? Well, when you put everything into context, he's not done anything well since Buffalo. Am I wrong? And Richard's right. Who cares? This guy has not had a good moment on a football field since the Buffalo Bills overtime game. And you're okay with that. He hasn't practiced well. He hasn't led the team well. And he hasn't played well. But it's okay. Wouldn't you want to try to erase that and erase it and start new? Or is this going to be another blaming of another coordinator at the end of the season here? That's what I fear. This will be just another blaming of another coordinator. Okay? But probably nothing. I'll go here with you. That's Sills. Don't sweat it. When did I say that, you idiot? I was right about White eye regard to the business and him taking it personally. You're not good at this, man. I know. I've sucked for 40 years doing this. I know, Prince. I'm not good at this. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. Always remember that, Sonny boy. It's probably not a thing. Okay? It's probably not a thing. Can he flick it? Can he flick it? Let's go flick it. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And NFC East Clips says this is why you keep getting. I don't get fired. I've been fired twice in 40 years. 40 years, twice. Wasn't for production. Was because, you know why? I'm a little edgy. Imagine that. At least I don't get fired because I suck. I get fired because I say something. Okay? Oh, man. Oh, my God. Guys, don't get so upset here with the messenger. The NFL, here it is. PL. The NFL figured Hurts out. Weaknesses, scheme, him into playing that way. You're all talk, bro. Well, that's what I do, jackass. Hey, Prince. Well, that's what I do, dude. Silio's all talk. Duh. 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 Dan is the Eagles' Rush Limbaugh. No, I don't think so. No. No. Not true. I'm here to promote. I love that rugby. I love that. You're okay. Oh, let me see, Sileo. You don't look for positives because looking for positives doesn't make you better. Jesus criminy. None of you people have ever been coached. You don't work on your positives. You work on your negatives, ass bag. And you point them out because the negatives are what hold you back from being Super Bowl champions. Not talking about how good you are, what a nice guy you are, what do you do in the community and all that. That has nothing to do with winning football games. Working on your weaknesses, ass bag, is how you become a champion. Once again, Eagle fans, you're right here. Act like it. You act like you're here. Act like it. You're right here. Which means have a little bit more attention to the detailed things that you don't do well. And then maybe you'll have an epiphany one morning and wake up and go, you know that guy I watched for 4 hours? Or that guy I watched for an unprecedented hour of my life every day was right. Was right. Flexing goes, we have some delusional fan sills that can't help it. I know this. It's a disease. It's a disease. Okay? It's a disease. Sills, real Eagle fans from Philly ain't like these soft ass boys. Hey, Bob, I know that. Bob, there's more people like you and some of these snowflakes in here that cry and moan anytime somebody says anything constructive to a player or about a coach. I know that. Most of them are like you and Xander. You don't melt in a pan like a piece of butter and start falling apart all over yourselves. I can't believe it. Hater. Oh my God. Hater. Hater? It's got nothing to do with hating. It's got everything to do with wanting to be great. Dude, it's a great point. DMAC. That is the greatest comment. Anybody who was ever satisfied in professional sports or in any sporting activity that you do, right, Bob? If you're satisfied and you're happy with what you're seeing, you're a loser. No champion is satisfied. Brady was never, you know what made Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time? He was never satisfied with what he did in his life. That guy's a miserable dude. You know why? He's chasing the next one. No champion looks back at their resume while they're playing and go, you know, I think this is why LeBron James is 4-6 in NBA Finals. This guy's always counting his trophies before he's done. Hurts 34-17 as a starter. That's not true. Okay? That's not true. He's not 34-17 as a starter. 9-8, 14-3, and 11 and 7, 34-17, and 2-3 in the postseason. He's 36-20. 2-3 in the postseason. That's what he is. Not true. He's 36-20. Yeah, well, he's 36-20. And there were a couple missed games. There are probably two because they lost those two. So you're right. He doesn't get credit for those two. So he's more like 32. He's 34-20. Yes. Who said Jalen satisfied? I never said he was. I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about Tom Brady. Okay? I was talking about, and I forgot, the 1-3. That's right. And 21. So he's 23. He's 34-23. It's not bad. That's not horrible. It's actually good. With a Super Bowl appearance in there, it's not bad. And he's 2-3 in the postseason. Not bad. Of course you're confused, Prince. You're running around your life confused. It's all right, brother. I love you. You know that. Eagles can't develop talent as an organization. Devontae's being developed. But then again, Devontae was developed coming out of college. Tell you what, those offensive linemen are being developed. They're being developed. Folks, please hit the like button. You were great yesterday. Let's get to 200. All right, let me get back to some of the takeaways from today's practice. Day 2. Hurts was up and down. Okay, let's move off of him. Because everyone gets their panties in a bind over that. You want a positive? Kelee Ringo. It's true. Day 1, he was great. Today, he was great. I mean, supposedly, but what folks are saying, or his first day of practice, not today, but yet his first day of practice was really good. Moving around well. They like his activity. Kelee Ringo is making a step up from a year ago. That's a great sign. Ringo starting right now. From what I heard, it was Slay and Ringo yesterday with the first team. So, yeah, I'm glad you like Clint Hurt, Thaddeus. One of the most imposing and intimidating men you'll ever meet in your life, and he's a great guy. And I love the guy to death. He's one of my boys. I love him. Absolutely love him. We've been friends for 25 years. Love the guy. Okay? Here's something, too. Bradbury at safety. Tell me something here. What's your take on this? I'll ask you this. MJ had the highest selling album and wasn't satisfied. Why would greatness is never satisfied? Correct, 304. Tell me what your take is on this, because I still can't get my arms wrapped around this. So Bradbury was at safety. He took a couple snaps, and then for the rest of the practice, they had him on the sidelines with his helmet off the rest of the time. So what exactly are you doing with him? What's going on here with this? Is this some rouge that they're playing? I'm not getting why he's on the team. There's two people that should not be on the team right now. One is Nick Sirianni, and the other one is James Bradbury. What is he doing there? I'm not, and then you got him in the safety position. I don't know. I'm really not getting this and what they're trying to accomplish here. I mean, I'm not getting it. Something else here that was very, very good. Do you guys remember me saying this about Mekhi Becton? Remember what I said about him? I said I'd like to have him play right guard. Well, Landon Dickerson has a excused absence from camp. And the Eagles are cool. There's some personal issue. And I don't think there's anything to this at all. There's a personal issue he's dealing with. And Becton has been taking snaps at left guard. And Jeff Stoutland didn't even know that he was that athletic and that versatile enough to be able to play. My intention is to play him at right guard. Okay? To play him at right guard. That's a freaking great sign. Can you imagine a 6'7", 340-pound guy at the right guard position next to a 6'5", 330-pound Lane? You got a 6'5" Landon Dickerson, and then you've got a 6'8" Jordan Mailata. I'll tell you this. You might need an extra airplane to charter for them horses to get off the plane. That's like a stable at Belmont. That's insane size. You have to be the biggest offensive line in pro football. I mean, that is enormous men. You couldn't line up in a 30. They would devour you. He's 6'7", 365. Bob, 6'7", 6'8", 6'5", 6'5". Dude, it's like an NBA basketball team. Wow. I tell you what, how about that? I don't know if they're going to be the best O-line in Eagle history. I do know this. They're going to be the biggest offensive line the Eagles have ever had. That is gargantuan. And dude, the guy who's the shrimp is in the middle. That's okay. Centers are traditionally 300-pound guys, 295, 6'2" shorter guys because they have to get leverage underneath the nose. So that's normal. Most guys aren't like a Ray Donaldson at 6'6" or 6'5", or Bruce Matthews. Very few guys are that size at center, or like a Don Mosbar, 6'7". You don't see a lot of that. Those guys are crazy great athletes. They're more 6'2", 6'1", 6'3". That's been a tradition in the NFL, that size. God, that's such a great, I'm telling you one more time. Okay? One more time. That sign might be the greatest move this offseason that the Philadelphia Eagles have made, is the guy Mekhi Becton. How we trying to build Bradbury trade value up? Yeah, but Nick, I'm not fooled by it if I'm a GM. Nick, he's got an $11 million price tag for his salary. Why would I sign the guy? Because he played him a couple reps in minicamp at safety? Then he sat him the rest of the time? Right? Why would I do that? I mean, that's you're it's dumb, and you're taking reps away from guys who actually need it. Hey, Prince, I'll tell you something else too. We make the comment about AJ and Devontae helping the young secondary out. How would you like to be Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Milton Williams and Bryce Huff, and you got to go against them dudes. Tell you what, man, helmets and shoulder pads doesn't matter when you're doing pass probe and you're in pass rush drills. Okay? It doesn't matter whether you have gear on or not and you're in pass rush. Them are big dudes, man. Chargers cut their center. Should Eagles pursue? No. Well, they're not getting a lot out of that Hennessy guy. So that Hennessy guy doesn't look like he's doing much in camp. From what I understand, they're torturing that guy when it comes to pass probe, getting right around him. I don't think his knee is healed or his injury that he had. I don't think it's healed because he's not performing well. They sat Bradbury because they said he got hurt. Michael, of course they did. They don't want him to get hurt. So wait a minute, Michael, get this. You want to hear something crazy, Michael? So if Bradbury's agent goes to him and say, you know what you should do? You should go down so you can get your 11.2 because if you get cut, nobody's going to sign you for 11.2. The Eagles are on the hook for it. So if a sniper hits him at camp today and he decides to go out and he's done for the rest of the year, Eagles are on the hook for $11.2 million. Why would you even practice him in the first place? It doesn't make sense in being on the team. That's right. See what Wayne just said? Bradbury tweaked an ankle. Of course he did. Because they don't want to practice him that much. Hey, when you get hurt, you pay the player. Why didn't they cut him June 1st? Crowley, I asked you that yesterday, and no one could answer it. Okay, let me get back to Becton. Becton playing guard it's great. Absolutely great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Danny, was Barkley limping today? I did not hear that. And I have not heard today's report yet. And I only heard yesterday's report. Martin goes, Sills, Bradbury stepped on us. He stepped on a snail. You're getting, that's it. Way to go. Yes. Bradbury wouldn't be sold. Wouldn't be so bad. We were saying the same about Steven Nelson. Okay. Hurts going to need stilts over that. Right. Absolutely. Dude, 6'8", 6'5". Cam Jurgens, 6'7", 6'5". Woo! That thing looks great. I mean, holy cow, man. Airplane's going to need extra fuel to get those guys across the country. Unbelievable, man. All right. So I guess they're playing Campbell a lot in the slot. Is that right? They got him in the slot. Like to see a little bit more AJ in there a couple more times. Hey, Senor, I like O-line and D-line because that's where you win your championships. Oh, I am excited. Hey, Senor, anytime you want me to talk something positive, you just bring up your offensive line. That is a great-looking group. And if Becton can be the guy who they thought was the 11th pick out of Louisville with the Jets in 2020, then you got yourself unbelievable skill set. I can't tell you. Phil Simms was raving about the guy. So was Brian Baldinger on the program raving about him. I agree. I see this offseason totally differently, Sills. Our biggest weakness was the defense. If Jalen keeps throwing picks, that's fine. He will learn from it. The defense has to dominate. Yes. But remember something, Prince. This 7-on-7 kind of stuff is set up for offense, not really for the defense. All right? Sills, you must be dissatisfied with the lack of quality football you watched. I did. Eagles sucked last year at the end of the year. It was terrible. It was brutal. Thanks. You're right. With that O-line, I wouldn't zone block those guys. They're maulers. And I don't are you saying you wouldn't zone block those guys because you don't believe that their feet are good enough? Just people need to understand practice is not supposed to be easy. And Fangio is making Hurts understand defensive schemes. It's so true. So true. Hey, get this. Let me ask you something. Martin, let's do something here. Let's do something here. How good do you think, and this never gets reported, let's take Patrick Mahomes. What do you think is the number one reason that Patrick Mahomes, besides his legendary talent, is great? Prince, what do you think, besides his great talent, makes him great? What would be the reason that he's great? His relationship and trust with Reed. One. What else? His will. Okay. There's one more significant thing you're missing. There's one significant thing you're missing. His IQ. Smart guy. Thank you, Kyle. See, Kyle? You're going against the best coordinator in pro football. Spags. Every practice. 4-time Super Bowl champion defensive coordinator. He's doing everything in practice to make his practice harder. You got the best offensive coordinator calling plays and the best defensive coordinator scheming defenses every day in practice to make your life harder. Can you imagine for Mahomes going into a game when he goes against a lesser coordinator and he sees the game so wide open? It must look like, you see, the Kansas City Chiefs have one advantage that no other team has. Their games are easier because they practice harder and they have better coaches, which means they prepare you better. One of the greatest advantages I had was being around Jimmy Johnson. Those same coaches went to Dallas. Offensively and defensively, our games were never hard on weekends. They were the easiest part of the week. The week was the hardest part of the year. How many times do you hear Dave Wannstedt say that when he comes on here? We used to have coaches like Buddy Ryan come to our practices, and he was the head coach of the Eagles, and he would say this: I can't believe what I'm watching. I've posted that picture of Buddy at our practices going, I can't believe what I'm watching. And no wonder you guys kill everyone. And that's why he came down and coached us 3 years in a row. It's because he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Our games were so easy. That's right, Martin. Fangio's going to make Jalen better. And you know what, too? Hey, Martin, I never thought of it this way. Maybe one of the reasons that Jalen is struggling is because Vic is improving the defense. right in front of our eyes. That's a good thing. That's a great sign. That side of the ball needs as much help as possible. And if Hurts is up and down in practice and the quarterbacks are not looking good, well, okay, it could be its fact. You see Jeff Kerr and ESP going, well, they're installing the new offense. Well, maybe it's Vic Fangio who's making the offense look a little worse because he's putting his defense in a position of success. Did you ever put that into the room? To me, that's a good sign. That's the reason why Kansas City, you look at Kansas City and you go, you know what's crazy, dude? They got lesser talent than both the 49ers and the Eagles the last 2 Super Bowls. How are they winning? They're better prepared with a great talent. You can't beat that. Get this. The Eagles and the 49ers can't beat the Chiefs because they have an exceptional quarterback and exceptional coaching. You have exceptional talent, and that's where it lies. Kyle's good, but not good enough. I mean, their starting linebackers right now are Zach Braun and Devin White, and Dean's being rotated. That may change today. I haven't had the report yet on today, but they're getting a big look at Zach Braun right now. And they're looking at him, and Vic likes him a lot. I think they see a lot of TJ Edwards in this kid. So you've got Devin White and you've got Zach Braun right now as your starting backers, inside linebackers, with Dean backing up. This may benefit Nakobe Dean incredibly. Let him see the game. Bring him along slower. If he struggles, bring him along slower. If you really like the player that much and you want to keep the player on the field, then do me a favor. Or you want to keep the player on your roster, then slow down his process. Make him a backup. Make him a backup. I didn't realize he was a 3rd-round pick also. Thanks, Pickin. I didn't realize that. Bob says, Sills, here's the problem. Unless Moore is promoted, he'll leave. Poor play calling against a better D in practice will cause issues and hurts his development. Bob, I think it helps with Jalen. I'd rather have Jalen struggle in minicamp than I would in Brazil, wouldn't you? I'd rather have him struggling versus Vic's offense at the NovaCare Center in June than down in Sao Paulo in Brazil on the 6th of September. Wouldn't you? I mean, I'd rather have him better prepared now. Ringo and Slayer starting at the corners right now. Once again, I'm right, Sills. Hey, please hit the like button. Guys hit 200 yesterday. Thank you very much. How about this one here? I thought this was a little odd, the report I got. Mitchell's in the slot. Mitchell was in the slot on day one. That's why I kept emphasizing the need for defense to dominate, elevate. 215, thank you. Mitchell's in the slot. Get them on the field. That means this. Kelee Ringo is outperforming Quinyon Mitchell. Not a lot to read into that yet. It's not minicamp. It's not July 27th. But Kelee Ringo's outperforming everybody at the cornerback position, including the 2 draft picks. Okay? And that's how Vic sees it. I got to tell you guys, right now is head game central with that depth chart. Okay? I agree, Senor. I think that's a lot to do with it. That's where I'm going right now. Man, minicamp is it's a head nightmare. This is where they play games with the depth chart on you. And you're looking at the depth chart every day. It changes. They're effing with you as much as possible, especially when you're young. When you're Slay, you're not concerned about it. But when you're a younger player, you're looking at the depth chart. You've never seen your name. You know, some of these guys that have got drafted and have been on this Eagle roster have never seen their name in the second or third team in their entire football careers. Do you know what an absolute punch in the gut that is? To not see your name atop of a depth chart and see your name third. And you're like, what? Ringo was first round talent if he stayed in college. JH, man. Well, he's performing well. Can you imagine? Okay, so like, look, you're Quinyon Mitchell and you're Cooper DeJean, and you look up at the depth chart and you see your name second and third team. Damn. Shit. He's only 21, young dude. Hey, this guy might be a guy who you picked off the apple or you picked off the tree too soon, and he may mature in the league. That shit happens. So Kelee Ringo has gone from this on the Sills list. Okay, whatever. Okay, who? To now this. Wow. He's performing so well, he's starting on the other side of Slay. That's quite a leap. To come off the depth chart at third team to starting next to Slay? Hey, in helmets and shorts, where anyone can look good, he's outperforming everyone. I take that as a positive. That's why they're playing Mitchell and trying him and looking at him in the slot. They want Mitchell on the field. They want Mitchell on the field. Okay? Trotter's third team. Okay? It's a good thing. Let him see the game. Let him see the game. He'll get his chance with that unit. There's going to be a moment that pops up in 2024 where they're going to need him. And his best thing, be prepared and ready. That's a position where you're going to get reps. Okay? That's going to be a position where you're going to be called upon. So don't sweat it. And by the way, Eagle fans, do me a favor. Don't pressure the kid. He's not Trotter Sr. He's Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Okay? It's like the movie Ford versus Ferrari. It doesn't make you Henry Ford because your last name is Henry Ford. You're Henry Ford II. Make your own way. It's all good. Leave him alone. Okay? Mitchell got first team reps today with Rodgers and Slay. Good. Okay. They're moving everybody around. I'm not saying that this is cement. I'm saying what happened on day one. I'll get more of a report for tomorrow. I mean, Jalen up and down. We've already hit on that. I'm not going to go back over that again. Okay. Now, look, here are the most important things for veterans and for people when you're talking these mandatory mini camps. Sills, Mitchell being put on the depth chart in 2 and 3 is awesome. No position should be just handed out. Correct. The only position in that offense that has been handed out has been the quarterback position. He didn't earn it. He was handed it. Then again, Caleb Williams didn't earn that position in Chicago. He was handed it. It's not uncommon today. The difference is, though, he's the first overall pick. Jalen had to have the 22 season for him to have that job really solidified with the salary. Okay? Here's the most important issues when you're talking about these mini camps. This is an overview, okay, about what is expected and what you're looking at through the eyes of the organization. First, who shows up, and more importantly at times, who isn't there? Like, look at the Cowboys. No CD. No Micah Parsons. I mean, and they're being fined because it's mandatory. All those guys talk about in Dallas is money. Okay? They just talk about money. Number 2, one thing for sure you want to make sure you get out of. You want to get out of these next 2 days or 3 days. You want to make sure nobody gets injured. Please. No injuries, stupid injuries going into training camp. Because it's late in the year. Making roster moves, if you lose Landon Dickerson, and I know he's not there, and it's excused. You lose Malata. The Eagles are fortunate that they have Micaiah Becton. Okay, but what you don't want is you don't want A.J. Brown with a hamstring injury, slowing him up for training camp, not having him ready for the – you don't want any of that. You want to make sure your football team is as healthy as possible. And lastly, and I don't think the Eagles fall in this room here, but you got it. What the NFL does is because of the new collective bargaining agreement, they watch these practices for contact and for length of practice. And this is like a stickler with them with the collective bargaining agreement. So you'll see there will be teams fined for practicing too long and too much contact because all of these practices are filmed. And there is a strict bylaw in there for these mandatory mini camps. Can't go long, and there can't be excessive contact. Like pass rushing drills, it does. When you do a pass rushing drill, and John McMullen can tell you this, when you do a pass rushing drill, helmets and shorts or helmets in full gear, it's no difference. You're going at the guy the same velocity. You don't go in a pass rush drill any differently. So they keep an eye on that kind of stuff, the pass rush, especially pass protection. They'll keep an eyeball on that. So do I think the Eagles? I don't. But those are some of the 3 things when you're looking at minicamp. Health, get out of there. Don't get anybody injured. Who shows up and who doesn't? And contact and length of time at these practices. You got to keep a stopwatch on this shit. Okay? Yes. All right. Guy, okay, Xander, where are we in the like count? Mark Holmes is coming up. The resident cowboy honk There's no Philly 500, so I'm going to need you guys. Okay? I'm going to need you here. So Mark's going to come up here in a couple minutes. We'll have Jason Cole tomorrow. We got 102. That's a great, great start. Great start to get to 200. Fantastic, guys. Fantastic. Mark Homer. Yeah, I like it. Hit the like button. Mark Holmes on the other side. Resident Cowboy honk will be here. And I'm going to put that point to him about, dude, Micah Parsons, that's some leader. Missing Parsons. I can't stand that guy. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Delval Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Mark Holmes is going to join us. Please hit the like button. We really appreciate you guys coming aboard here. Yeah, that McCaffrey deal and that conversation we had. McCaffrey gets $19 million and Justin Jefferson gets 35. And McCaffrey's a better ball player. I mean, Jefferson is a spectacular wide receiver. I'd rather have McCaffrey. He does more. He's more versatile. Right? Now, who were the quarterbacks last year that got him that 1,100 yards? Like, here's my issue. If McCaffrey doesn't have Brock Purdy, or is it McCaffrey making Purdy look great? Who's benefiting more, you think? Brock Purdy from McCaffrey or McCaffrey from Purdy? See, Jefferson, I don't think it really matters who throws him the ball. You could have some stiff, and they had stiffs last year throwing him the ball. Right? He's going to get 1,100 yards in 9 games. I mean, does it matter more on who the signal caller is for CMC than it does for Jefferson? Jefferson's going to get them huge numbers. Like, look at Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams gets those massive numbers no matter who the stiff quarterback with the Raiders is. Okay? All right. I got a question for you guys before Mark Holmes joins us at the bottom of the hour. Help me out here on this. Are Eagle fans expecting the Philadelphia Eagles to have the number 1 ranked offense in the National Football League this year? No. Zero expectations on a $175 million huddle. Really? No. You top 5. You're paying $175 for top 5? No. Wow. So your expectations for the Philadelphia offense is not to have the number 1 ranked offense in the National Football League this year. And you're paying, why are you paying all that money then? It didn't deliver championships. You at least want to have the number 1 offense, don't you? Top 2? Okay, I'll bend. You can't be 8, 10 with the richest offensive huddle in pro football history. Top 5, and you spend the most money. Shouldn't it be, if you buy something and you spend the most, you're expecting the best? How do you people shop? I'll take that top 3 piece of steak. Or I'll take that top. When you go and you're buying strawberries, do you take the 5th best bunch? Or do you look for the best quality bunch you can find? So when you're buying a car, well, you know, are on the lot. Or are you looking for the best deal? Holy shit. You're going to spend almost $200 million in salaries and expect a top 10 offense. So you have no expectations on that. Here's what I just found out. Some Philadelphia Eagle fans are like, hey, Sills, I don't care if we have the top offense. And I get it. You want to win Super Bowls. You had a top 8 offense, couldn't beat the Bucks. Couldn't beat the Bucks. DB says, I expect top 5, but wins matter more than stats. Well, last year it didn't matter. You had 11 wins. You had more. How about this, DB? Wins matter? You had as many wins as the Kansas City Chiefs did. What did it get you? Don't you mean postseason wins? There's a distinction in quality wins. Wins matter. Didn't last year. You had 11. Didn't matter. It's irrelevant. Flexen says it's irrelevant. Paying $175 million for us. So I've just learned this, that there's some Philadelphia Eagle fans in here, because I'm going to get to Mark Holmes on this here in a second, that you're not expecting the number one offense in the NFL, and you're spending in salaries $175 million, and you think top 10 is cool. Jesus, criminy. When I'm paying that much money, and I have the highest pay, and I have the highest paychecks go out every week in NFL history for an offense, and I'm expecting top 10, I'm expecting fucking number 1. I'm not expecting, well, we'll be okay. Okay? Now, Mark he's in the green room here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this comment, and I want him to respond to this comment before I bring him up. Isn't it funny in Dallas? This is what you hear. I'm going to be the highest paid non-position player in NFL history, Micah Parsons. CD's not at camp. Dak's contract has been a gigantic conversation since the offseason started. You couldn't name me one time that a championship organization, that New England Patriot organization, where anybody talked money. Nobody was talking money, ever. Wasn't about money up there. And when money became an issue, like in Kansas City, Snead, Honey Badger, Tyreek Hill, you're out. How come in Dallas it's all about being a TV star? Let's bring in our friend Mark Holmes. Just me and you.
What? Wait a minute. What do you mean it's just me and you? What do you mean it's just me and you?
Philly 500, his kid is graduating today. Oh, stop. What?
What? He couldn't live stream from the graduation. It's 30 minutes. So then that means, now, see, I'm going to say, see, look, I've gotten something special here. You see this?
Yes.
Okay. The chicken. Okay. Philly 500. We're giving these away on my channel because Philly 500 is chicken to go to Dallas. And after the riot act that he read to me last week, oh, you gave up all the power. You're telling me he's not here today?
I'm telling you he's not here today, but he has a Micah Parsons club excuse today because his kid is graduating, and he has like a cowboy excuse.
Okay.
You know, I mean.
So wait, let me be clear here. So shit does come up that may be more important than being here. And so he gets excused, but I don't. Me giving and helping two families get back.
No, I heard you were selling maple syrup in Maine.
No, I got some maple syrup. And I tell you what, Sil, if you do come to Virginia, I have some really good maple syrup. And see, you don't know about how good I cook too, bro. Oh, my God.
My dad lives in Williamsburg.
Well, come on and visit him. I got a guest bedroom down here. I will feed you the nicest steaks, some pulled pork and everything else, and some fresh pancakes with Vermont maple syrup.
It actually sounds very tasty. I actually like that. All right, let's get into this here.
One thing real quick, because I see that you have the trolls like I do. because I saw I'm one of those stealth YouTubers where I watch the feed and stuff and see what's going on, just kind of check the pace of the room. And this guy C24 said, as soon as Mark Holmes is on, I'm gone. But I still see him here. I still see him here.
They're not going nowhere.
You know, it's funny because, see, they hate me, but they love to watch me.
Somehow that has been a mantra in my life. That's ridiculous.
Oh, Lordy. So
all right.
You wanted to ask me about my Cowboys.
What about my comment I made that everyone's talking money instead of talking championships in Dallas?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple things. I'm going to say that yesterday I ended up kind of just saying F Micah Parsons.
Wow.
No, and here's the thing. Here's the thing is,
you want him off the team?
No, just let me explain this, because I'm seeing a clip here from Jane Slater and I'm seeing a clip here from John Machada and stuff. And when you take these pieces, like when he says, you know, I've hardly talked with Mike Zimmer, you know, we haven't had more than 20 words. You know, he has things that he likes to do his way and things that I like to do my way. When you hear things like that, it sounds really bad, like, you know, he's ready to fight. But what I did this morning was I watched the whole 12-minute interview. And when you watch this thing, you get a totally different perspective than you do from just little bits and pieces of it. And the way he explained things, he's like, look, I'm undersized playing defensive end. He said, by the end of the season, I am literally beat up. And he said, what I like to do is basically let my body heal. He said, I don't really like to get on the field till May and June and really start doing that stuff. And in some regards, I can understand that. And this actually goes towards what the NFLPA is trying to do, where they're trying to basically take OTAs and make it part of training camp and start that sooner.
I am so sick of his whining.
Yeah, you know what?
He is a pussy.
A pussy that gets a lot of sacks.
Every single time I hear him talking. Let me put this in perspective to you. You think that guy's really Charles Haley?
He has the ability to be.
No way. Is he in Charles Haley's league?
But see here, I'm going to tell you, because see, when you first were like, I don't know who the hell Mark Holmes is and Stephen Jones, this, that, and the other. I got a chance to interview your head coach from college, Jimmy Johnson, because, you know, I had the connection with Charles Haley. And the thing about Charles Haley was, Charles Haley, if you looked at what his career was when he was in San Francisco, he's crazy. You know, I'm telling you, if you're in the locker room with Charles Haley, you better keep your head on a swivel, because you don't know what's going to be flying in your face.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And he means that in appendages. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, I remember from JMU, and it's like when I hear stories, like, yeah, that sounds about right. But Jimmy Johnson, because I asked him, you know, about Charles Haley and stuff. And he said, you know, he was one of my favorite players and things. And he said, I got him in practice one time, and Charles came to my office and he said, look, coach, I'll do anything you want me to do, but just try not to disrespect me in front of everybody else. And he said, from that point on, they became and developed a great relationship. So part of that, understanding that you have a great talent, is having the coaches to figure out how to motivate them, because you got some crazy people out there that you do have to deal with. The question is can they figure out how to harness that power? Because I want those 13, 14, 15 sacks a season. I just got to make sure how we can coexist and get the most out of this guy for as long as he's here.
They've created something they can't coach. And I'm going to tell you where I am with him. He is limited. And I'm going to tell you why he's limited. They need to line him up on the weak side, not strong side, because he cannot handle offensive tackles and tight ends blocking down on him.
Not all season. Yeah, he can't.
Because he just can't. Right. Do you ever notice that the second half of the season, he's missing Parsons instead of Micah Parsons?
Yeah,
when
you're 245 pounds and you're going against offensive tackles that are 320, you know, your body wears down. I'm sorry, that's not it. He is the perfect mismatch. And if you're putting him outside every single play, by the end of the season, he's going to be done. It's just like when you've got the bellwether running back and you run him all season long, 20, 30 times a game. By the time the season's there, he's got nothing left in the tank. So the thing is you've got to figure out how to use him to maximize his abilities where he doesn't get beat up all the time by the tackles. And I think Mike Zimmer will do that. The other part of that equation is you need a Robin on the other side that's also going to take some of that focus away.
Let me go into some of the comments about Kellen Moore at the first mandatory minicamp. The quarterbacks are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts.
Surprise. Okay.
They're struggling. And today, supposedly, I just got a text. He's having another horrible day at minicamp. And so I said this to the Eagle fans, and this is why they're a little bit aggravated with me right now.
Oh, they love you so much.
That this guy hasn't played well in practice, in a game, since the overtime against Buffalo. He hasn't played well in any time since. And this is pitch and catch. This is just like,
this is nobody coming at you.
Throwing a Nerf ball around.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore.
And see, this is where, it's only mini camp in the beginning of the summer and stuff.
When you say that, this is what I say to that. But Mark, it's set up for you to have success.
Yes. What do you want me to say? Oh man, that's terrible.
You shocked that Kellen Moore and the offensive guys are struggling?
See, here's the thing. Everybody looks at Dak Prescott and they say he's a bum. Somebody else made him. When it was early in his career, it was like, oh, it's Zeke Elliott, right? Even though he had Jason Garrett originally calling the plays and stuff, and then Scott Linehan. Then it was, Kellen Moore is the boy genius. He's got Dak Prescott doing all these great things, right? He goes to the Chargers, and the Chargers fans, I remember, because this guy was like, oh, my God. He's like, oh, my God, we got Kellen Moore. Now he's got a real quarterback to work with. He's a genius. And what's kind of interesting is you look at Justin Herbert, who had 38 TDs, his second year went to 25 and then down to 20, and Kellen Moore is gone. Was it Justin Herbert, or was it trying to adjust to Kellen Moore's offense? Dak Prescott loses his offensive coordinator, less interceptions, leads the league in the NFL in points. So was it Kellen Moore, or was it Dak Prescott?
How many coordinators has Dak had in the last 4 years?
4 years? Well, it'll be Kellen Moore, and because Kellen Moore was there for 3.
Kellen and Mike?
Yeah, and then Mike. But the year before that, it was Scott Linehan.
So in the last 5 years, he's basically had only 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Which does make a difference.
Would you say even with those 3, outside of that one turnover year he had, it's been pretty consistent no matter who the play callers are?
It has, yeah.
Okay.
He's gotten,
he's
had the natural progression. As a rookie, the ball is more running.
Hurts has not been consistent at all with any of the play callers outside of 22.
Oh.
So my point is with Dak, this is why I say Dak's a better thrower of the football, is because at the end of the day, now, Dak Prescott, winning in the postseason, everyone makes it sound like it's easy. It's not. Peyton Manning is 1 game over 500, and so is Aaron Rodgers 1 game over 500.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, stop lying. You backed up, gun to the link first. Said that you reneged.
No, I tell you what. Here's what I'll do, okay? Because I have asked Philly 500. I have literally last year made a bet. I said, listen, let's go to the link. Let's watch the game. And the losing team has to wear the other team's jersey. The Cowboys got their ass kicked in Philadelphia. I would have worn an Eagles jersey.
Wait a minute. Now, see,
seriously,
that's no.
That was the bet I proposed. But listen,
what you're doing is you're celebrating Cowboy mediocrity, which is normal for you.
I'm just saying, I think it would be incredible to have you, me, and Philly 500 there in Dallas, because this is, the rumble in the jungle, man. This is the two of our teams.
Shouldn't it be what team?
Just break the internet.
Surely it should be what team goes further in the postseason.
What, we can do that
Or
too.
are you afraid of? You have to be.
We can
afraid
do that. Listen, listen, bro. Let me be clear here. I will meet Philly 500 wherever he wants to go. Okay, I will open up my calendar. If it wants to be at the link, I'll be at the link. If he's too chicken to go to Dallas,
you're gambling on mediocrity again.
If it's in the playoffs, we play. Listen. Let me speak clear here. I'm willing to go anywhere. Hell, if you had told me I had to go to his son's graduation, I would have go there. I'm going to be in California at training camp, okay? So I'm coming 3,000 miles. I know he's about 5 hours north. Let's meet halfway then or something.
You're going to be in Oxnard?
I'm going to Oxnard, bro. I believe I'm going to be there.
You up there.
Here's what we've heard that the Cowboys are going to be practicing against the Rams before the preseason game.
Oh, that's even closer.
Okay, so I'm sitting there thinking I'm going to be there for that week because, they always are fighting because that'll be great footage. And then go to the preseason game too. Start the season off right.
Maybe I should do one of my shows up there, either from I can't do it from the Cowboy place, but I could do it from the Ram place.
Okay.
Okay. Are you kidding me?
I'm serious.
I can't do this show from Oxnard.
Bro, I'm sitting here on your show every freaking week, man.
I can't even show my Cowboy helmet. They made me put it in a box. Even Xander did. Do you understand? They said, you know what they said to my Cowboy helmet when I showed it? They said that's the best looking outhouse urinal I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. I hear you on that one. But no, seriously, I'm trying to do a whole lot of different events and stuff. And Philly 500, I cut him up a lot and all that, but he's my boy. Him and I are like family. Okay. We're like, he's like that crazy uncle that you tell the kids not to get close to.
I see your game. Don't you dare soften people up so you can give them backhanded slaps in the back of the head. I know you, Mark Holmes. You can't pull that shit on Big Sills. I know you. I know who you are. Hey, man.
Okay. All right. So you know who I am. That's
your
cool.
Team sucks.
Yeah, but you know what? We both went home the same weekend this past year. So I'd say we both got a lot to prove. But let me tell you, I learned a new trick, man.
Tell me.
Oh, look, I want you to listen to this. You hear this? Do you hear this?
Okay.
That's the Eagles. You hear this? You hear that?
Yeah.
That's the Cowboys. 5 rings.
Oh, do that again. Do that again. So
here's the Eagles.
He's talking championships.
And here's what I'm going to say because this is actually really, really important and near and dear to me. I understand it's been a while since the Cowboys won.
Jiggle again. I want the Cowboy jiggle again. It's actually very good.
Okay. But here's the thing. You, knowing, of course, Michael Irvin and the Cowboys of the 90s and knowing great players like Larry Allen, I know it was a long time ago, but you have to look at what those guys were. And you can't just take the history and just cherry pick part of it because you were actually looking at some of the greatest players that have actually played the game of football. And to say, that doesn't mean anything. That's bullshit. You know what Michael Irvin was. You knew what Emmitt Smith. You knew what Larry Allen, Charles Haley, and things like that. That's the only thing that I wish is that these younger generations knew more about the guys that came before them that actually made the game what it is now.
You know what? I think what we should be doing now here is, if we're going to talk about Cowboy history, we should talk about FDR and what kind of great president that he was 65 years ago. Okay. Hey, man, he had the Tennessee Valley Authority thing where he put people to work. It was a really great president. Mm-hmm. He was the only president that actually acted like people think Trump will act and said, I'll add myself, of course, a Democrat, I'll add myself another term. Let me just do it. Shit. And I'll just, he did. Jokes. Did he not?
He got jokes.
Wait, he did he not?
Wait a minute. No, seriously. Okay,
did Roosevelt just go like this? Well, I'll just give myself another term.
Let me ask this. No, serious question. Okay, serious question. So when I look back at the Cowboys 90s team and I think about Michael Irvin as a Cowboy player for life, or a Troy Aikman and things. Iconic players across the board, so many of them. Do you look at the Eagles of 2017 that won that Super Bowl and say that's like a Reggie White? Do you look at those guys and say that those are true Eagles iconic guys that their names will live on forever?
Come on, dude. Differently,
I'm just asking.
No player movement, no salary cap. Can't do that. Can't do that. You know better than that. You know better. Jimmy didn't deal with cap era.
No, he didn't.
Cap era. That what they did in 17 may have been a one-year wonder if it wasn't for the 22 appearance. Okay?
Yeah.
They put that team together. Get this. They lost their starting middle linebacker, their MVP quarterback, and their future Hall of Fame left tackle, and still beat Brady and Belichick in a Super Bowl with a substitute teacher. I mean, dude.
Yeah, they did. They were. I'm not saying they weren't a bad team.
I get what you're saying about the Cowboys, but the Cowboys were built by Landry and Jimmy.
Yes. And I don't know that there'll be another team like that.
95% of that old line was put together by Tom Landry and Gil Brandt.
And none of them were first-round draft picks.
Not one of them. And Nate was a throwaway from Washington and from the USFL. Okay, the only guy in that old line that really was anything when it came to draft picks early was Stepnoski because he took over for Rafferty.
Yeah.
Okay, and Crawford was a third-rounder out of Florida, and he got drafted in the third round. And then they added Eric Williams, obviously. If Eric Williams doesn't get in that car wreck, then we're talking about a potential future Hall of Fame guy. Hey, I do want to say this to you about Larry Allen.
Yeah.
He's the greatest offensive lineman
beast
I've ever seen. And I'll say this to you. Hey, Mark, this is all seriousness. Campo sent me the day he benched that 700 pounds at Valley Ranch.
That
was at Valley Ranch when he did that. And Dave sent me that on my email. And he goes, you got to watch this thing. And sure enough, man. And the movement he had, the guy who ran down with the Saints.
Unbelievable.
Man, 52 years old. What a shame. That guy, in my opinion, was one of the greatest players I've ever seen at any position. I mean, just tremendous of a football player.
Way too soon. So I want to go back, though, for a second here. So are you hitting the panic button about Jalen Hurts?
What I don't like about Hurts is that, personally, I don't believe he's the guy. I just don't think he's the guy. I just don't think it.
You know his contract is like a ticking time bomb, right?
Oh, no. He's there. No, dude. They got him till 29.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It's like an anchor around your neck for the next, 4 years. There's people in Philly who are not saying anything. They don't care. But as far as I'm concerned, he's a one-year wonder so far, unless he proves something to me.
Are you saying he's a Carson Wentz?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah. I think
and I'm going to say, I don't know that Kellen Moore is going to be able to take you to another level.
You have no excuses with that offense. You're paying $175 million for that entire unit when it comes to salaries. And you see, this is why I don't want the Eagles fans to turn into Cowboy fans like you.
Oh, shit.
Because you know why? You come up with some excuse. I don't come up with excuses for anybody. And I don't give a shit if it's your boyfriend, Dak Prescott. That's the difference between me and you. That's your boyfriend. Me, nobody on that team. Okay. It's about the logo and winning ball games. For you, you got a love affair with Dak and everyone else's fault except Dak. Now, I'll say this to you. Dak's got to go somewhere else to win a Super Bowl because he'll never win in that place.
I'm almost at the point of saying everybody has to go somewhere else to win a Super Bowl. Because here's what drives me crazy. Because, we're sitting here. We've seen everybody get paid. And I understand CeeDee Lamb is probably like, I want to see what Justin Jefferson gets, right? And, before I get paid, because I don't want to leave money on the table. We as a fan say, well, hurry up and sign it. It's a two-way street. But now there's no excuse not to get the deal done. He's holding out, of course, from training camp, right? The Cowboys, you know what the market is. So whether you pay them 34, 35, or 36.
5 games this year.
Say what?
You'll win 5 games.
Oh, no, bro. We're going to be in playoffs again.
Absolutely. No way. Not
I
a
will
chance
bet.
in hell.
What, you want to bet there?
Yeah,
bro?
No, I want to think about this one. I just don't want to do one of your stupid bets where
No,
you just
bro.
randomly throw something. And from what I understand, Philly 500 says you end up waffling out of them or you end up back-ending out of them.
No,
I want to make sure we put something in cement here on it.
Bro, I had to wear a freaking Hurts season hat for a week.
Jesus.
Okay. Now, fortunately, the Eagles don't win very often against the Cowboys, so I haven't had to do the walk of shame. There's a video out there where I say I'm Philly 500's bitch. So I'm trying to understand where I get all this stuff where Mark Holmes does. No, y'all are lying on me. Just like you got a fake Mark Holmes up in here right now that's talking smack. Okay, that ain't me.
Who's running the ball for you?
Who's running the ball? Zeke. But see, here's the thing that's interesting.
Zeke.
Hold
that
on.
relic?
Wait,
I understand why you talk about. Who's next you're going to talk about? Calvin Hill?
We're talking about Mike McCarthy and his offense. He doesn't really like to run the football. Do you realize that the year that they won the Super Bowl, their leading running back only had 751 yards, that they only rushed for 1,600 yards?
You had fucking Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers only had 29 TDs and 11 interceptions on that season.
Mark, did you remember the playoff run he had too when he was in there? How many turnovers did he not have?
Listen, you do what you know. Mike McCarthy likes to have multiple players out there to get the ball to. Okay. He had Donald Driver, he had Greg Jennings, he had Jordy Nelson. And he had trying to remember the other wide receiver. He likes to spread the ball around to multiple guys. He wants to be death by 1,000 cuts. The years that he's had running backs that have rushed for over 1,000 yards have been some of the worst seasons that he's had as a coach, with the exception of being with the Cowboys. If you go back to what he did in Green Bay, he likes to use the tight ends a lot. His tight ends are key. And that's where the Cowboys have kind of started to build this offense toward it. And understand, this team led the league in points last year. Not with the best offensive line like you guys had.
Are you painting Mike McCarthy into being Mike Holmgren?
I am painting Mike McCarthy is a great offensive mind. I don't know about him as far as being a coach.
He's wonderful at time management. Hey, did you see him handle?
Okay, yeah.
Did you see him handle the timeouts?
But see, here's the thing that's lost into the mix. You can't even
say that with a straight face.
I hear you. But you know what? Other guys make those mistakes, but they're not amplified like they are because he's a Dallas Cowboy coach. Here's the other part of the equation that people don't seem to understand is Brian Schottenheimer is also key too. When Brian Schottenheimer was with the Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson had his best year of career-wise, numbers-wise, with him calling the plays. So between the two of those guys there, they're calling it and working it by committee. And it worked last year. You can't look – now, come on. We scored more points than San Francisco did last year, and we didn't have a Christian McCaffrey. You had CeeDee Lamb have as many catches combined as Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuels. We didn't have a George Kittle out there tight end.
If they put A.J. Brown in the slot, and I'm suggesting they do that a little more,
that'd be scary.
1,000 yards. Your guy goes against safeties. The Eagle receivers go against corners. That's where the more talented players are on the field. Your guy runs against slow white guys who run 5 flats. That's why
that many white guys out there playing corner.
He had 181 targets.
And why you got to be racist? Huh? Leave the white guys alone, man.
Because Cooper DeJean is going to be playing safety for the Eagles. He ain't playing on the numbers.
Oh, Lord.
Come on, man.
It's going to be interesting. So you honestly believe the Cowboys are only going to have 5 wins?
5.
Okay. Because I'll take that bet.
You can't stop the run. And you can't run the ball.
We're going to be better at stopping the run.
And your O-line right now is got massive questions. You're not the same O-line Mark you were 3 years ago.
Pot meat kettle. What is your linebacking core going to do? What are your cornerbacks going to do? What is your defense going to do? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you, bro.
Okay, Xander says the Cowboys are going to win 10 games. Here we go. Ask Mark, can he get Charles Haley to join in next week to chop? I have Charles Haley's number too. I can.
Yeah, get Charles in here.
I can get Charles Haley. Do you know, as a matter of fact, I should get Irvin on here with us.
I keep. There you go. Well, Irvin.
You know what Irvin said about the Eagles? They're building a dynasty.
Yeah, okay. He's trying to pump you up a little bit there.
He did say that.
They're
he said
building
it on
a dynasty
program.
with a one-year wonder at quarterback.
Hey, get this. Here's the difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles. They don't need to have an MVP to win the Super Bowl.
I'm sorry. Did they win it 2 years ago?
And there win it.
Did they win it 2 years ago?
No, they went there though. I remember the Cowboys were playing golf in Cancun, or as Charles Barkley says, down there in Galveston, where all that dirty ass water is. It comes brushing up on your face. They didn't even get tickets to go to Cancun. They made the Cowboy players drive to Galveston. Okay, that's where they spent their offseason, in Galveston.
Yeah. Okay.
Bro,
all right, buddy.
Last thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if we make a bet on the win total, I don't want to see you want to do Eagles and Cowboys in the season. I'm so sick of the Cowboy guys giving the regular season MVP award out and the Super Bowl regular.
That's because
you guys have won more regular season.
If you guys were kicking our ass every year, you'd be talking about it.
That's right. The Eagle, you win more participation trophies for regular season awards than any team I know in the last 30 years. So let's make this a bet that we'll come up with something where, get this, the team that goes the furthest in the postseason.
Okay.
What you can't. That's what this is about, right? Or unless you guys
the Eagles are going 8-9 this year, so you're not going to be going to the postseason.
You're winning 5 ball games.
Okay.
You know,
I just want you to remember. I just want you to remember when the offense implodes again this year.
Even your dog hates that prediction. I get it. Hey, let me say this to you, man. Even Vegas has you guys at 14 wins.
They have us favored in 14 games, but you know how that shit works because they're trying to get more people to bet. It's not about who they really think. Look, it's about them making money.
Is that what you think? Ultra Cowboys thinks 13-4.
I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go say 11-6.
What are the Eagles going to be?
8-9.
Oh man. Oh, Mark. I leave you with this.
Okay.
Philly 500.
Oh, I don't want to hear anything about Philly 500. He didn't show up.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Philly 500 had a Cowboy excuse today. It was a show excuse because his kid graduated. You know, like you were making maple syrup with 90-year-olds and walking old ladies across the street. He gets the pass too, doesn't he?
I'll give him a pass.
Show that shirt again.
Oh, shit.
All right, Mark. Hey, Mark, tell folks how they can find you, brother.
Oh, just look up for Joe Boo Sports Report, man, or Cowboy Joe Boo. Of course, on Dan Sileo show on Wednesdays when I'm not helping old ladies with maple syrup. But
wait,
Cowboy Joe Boo on Twitter and all.
You can also type in Mark Prescott. From what I understand, I think that takes you right to your channel too, doesn't it? Mark Prescott.
That joke.
Or no, Dak Holmes.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day, Mark. Thank you very much, brother.
I'll see you at the Cowboys-Rams practice. Okay.
I think so. Thank you, Mark. Have a good one, brother. Good stuff, man. All right. Yeah. All right, folks. Xander, tell me where we are in the like button, man. That was good. I may have to get up to the Rams camp up there, man. I may have to do that. I appreciate him doing that, man. It's fun. 134. All right, guys. Trying to get to 200 here. We're going to reset. Don't forget also, At the bottom of the hour, we are going to have Jason Cole. We'll talk a little bit more. Great job, Sills, being who you are and not falling for. Well, wait. Now, wait a minute. Now, wait. I'm an equal opportunity offender. Okay, I'm an equal opportunity offender. Get 500 to a Dallas game. He's talking about teams in the 90s. I agree, man. I think that Cowboy stuff from the past, I think it's nauseating. Hey, Mr. Perez, nobody cares. Well, you do care because that's your – I love how Eagle fans just go like this. Well, Cowboy guys don't matter. That's not true. It's the most highest rated game for the Eagles every year, and it's your biggest rival. Okay? Dak Holmes. Hurts needs Barry Switzer to hire a wishbone coordinator. Ooh, man. Guys, I got to tell you, I'm getting a little bit of an update here about Hurts' performance today. I've got some intel. About Hurts' practice. Who starred? Becton at left guard and right guard. Devontae. Okay. Yeah. So what we're going to do is take a timeout. Got a text back here. And I'll give you a little bit of the skinny on what went down today. You're going to need a beer. Yeah. Hey, as Xander and everyone says, it ain't a big deal. It's not a big deal. Hit the like button. We will reset, and I'll give you the skinny on today's day 2. Preliminary, I'll get more tomorrow too. Preliminary on your team's performance at OTA's day 2. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Stills! Woo! What a day. Day 2 of Sirianni's mandatory minicamps. Wow. Got a little bit also, some storylines here. This is via Jeff McClain. A.J. Brown agreed with Devontae Smith's assessment that the new offense gives receivers more freedom. Complete shot at Nick. With certain routes. Sounds like Eagle receivers will have more option routes based on coverages. This will require being on the same page with Hurts. This is also a little bit of a conversation with Tim McManus. This is a report by him. We didn't have all the right coaches in the right position. Brandon Graham on the differences between this year's coaching staff and last. And it looks like Howie's fixing it. So are you really going to give fucking Howie Roseman credit for his fucking bad hires? So he lit the place on fire with bad coaches, and he put the fire out with so-called better coaches on June 5th. What an absolute bunch of shit that is. You haven't validated anything that you have done yet. And you're making victory laps around something you haven't validated yet. Give it a season. Brandon Graham says that it looks like they've fixed it in minicamp. I mean, so Howie lights the entire organization on fire last year. And now he's fixed it. Or you want to give him credit for it. Jalen Hurts today. 15 of 20. No TDs, a pick. 2 days in a row. Throwing interceptions, no touchdowns. D+. D+, C-. Go in there. Nothing? Nothing. It's just fucking great. Oh my God. Just can't get in. It's just ridiculously awesome. Oh. 15 to 20 with a pick in pitch and catch. K-Gun, cool. It's OTA's grading OTA. It wasn't my grade, guy. That's not my grade. I wasn't there. Those aren't my grades. Oh, yeah, get this. Philly, hey, Philly D. Okay, Philly D. Let's put this here. Yep, means nothing. You have no idea what they're practicing on. How about getting better? Far cry from those grades that ESP was giving out for the Sirianni last year. Jalen looks sensational. A+ across the board. Wow. Does he look incredible? Immaculate passes. What happened to that reporting? Look at it. 15 to 20 is not bad. Hey, no touchdowns, 2 picks in 2 days. Who gives a shit? Here, J215 goes, who gives a fuck about OTA sales? Well, the Eagles must. It's the first time they've added it. So let me get this right. Nick Sirianni has added mandatory OTAs for the first time in his coaching time in Philly. And it's not supposed to matter to the most important person in the building, Hurts. And you think it's no big deal that the Eagles, for the first time in 4 years, have a mandatory minicamp. And you don't think that's just, you should blow that off, that they've never done anything like that. And you think it's not a big deal. Right? Man. Damn. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Hey, could it be that Vic Fangio's making that much of an impact? Yeah, it could be. Could be that the defense is getting better. With all those young new faces on that side of the ball, the defense is getting better. Okay, could be. The quarterback ain't. If the defense moves good in practice against the offense, that's what the statement the defense is making. True. So your defense is making Hurts look like shit. Or how about this? Let's be nice. Your defense is making Hurts look common. Okay. As much as I hate Eagle fans, I love them at the same. You got my day started off on a good foot. How you know they could throw touchdowns? Maybe they practice in the middle of the damn field. Well, if they're practicing in the middle of the damn field, that's why he's struggling, because he blows at it. Keely Ringo is saying, not so fast, my friend. Yeah, no. He's having another great day. He's having another great day. That kid may actually be the starter at the cornerback position for you. Seals, I look at Hurts' picks as a sign that he might grow to become better in the middle of the field over time. It's not a horrible take, Ibanez. He's trying things over the middle of the field. Maybe that's where they want him to go. You're going to talk Hurts up once he starts lighting it up. No, I won't. And if it goes back to 22, yeah, I will. If he looks like 22, absolutely. If he looks like 23, but it will be worse, I'm not concerned with that. I'm not. Hey, Sills. Hurts threw a pick right to Reed. Third safety on the team. The reason I'm not concerned, here we go, Prince. The reason I'm not concerned is that they want Jalen to release the ball within 2 to 3 seconds. Plus, that's what the problem is. They're trying to speed him up to get him off the sacks. But you know what they're trying to do to him right now? By the way, we're going to look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's your week 4 opponent here in a minute. You know what they're doing? They're speeding the offense up on him. And he's not grabbing it. They want to make sure he doesn't fall into that Wentz down, sack, fumble, field position, field goal, touch. They want to make sure he doesn't evolve into that. And he's struggling not with the plays. He's struggling with getting the ball out. Hey, let me ask you something. You know that pitch count? Or no, not the pitch count. You know the clock that pitchers have now to get the ball to the plate? Okay? Right? And Major League Baseball has implemented a clock, right? How many pitchers have you seen struggle? Even Wheeler, right? How many pitchers have you seen struggle adapting to the pitch clock because they got to get to the plate quicker? Even batters. They're struggling with it because, remember Nomar Garciaparra? You guys remember Nomar? He would dick around, do that whole thing at the plate. It'd take him about 25 minutes just to get one pitch. It used to drive everybody, including the fans, absolutely nutty. He couldn't play in today's baseball with that pitch clock. He's sitting there doing that for 5 minutes, grabbing his nuts, doing this, doing that. You're like, come on, man. Get the fuck in there and hit. Well, maybe Jalen is struggling a little bit with this 2.3. I mean, right? There you go, Spin. That's a process of learning pocket presence. They're teaching him right now. Get this. Whether it's here's why it matters. Okay? Whether it's live contact or it's not live contact. And you're lucky it's not live contact. They're teaching him pocket presence, which means he's not throwing the ball on time yet with 2.3. This guy held the ball as long as, what was that number you gave us yesterday, Xander? I'm not worried at all, Sales. They're helping with progression. Okay? It's going to look ugly in the beginning. Agreed. Throw all the picks now. Totally true. Okay. Yes. I agree with that, Prince. I completely agree with that take. They're making him throw 2.3 seconds. Then 15 of 20 is not bad. They're talking about his presence in the pocket, though. And most of those passes were underneath 5-yard completions. The deep passes are not looking good. Can we give context? Hurts is throwing picks, a few picks during 7-on-7 drills, and people want to act concerned. Well, this part of it, that's not the key part of his game. The defense knows it's strictly passing plays. Hoss, you can't tackle him. Pitch and catch 7-on-7 is set up for quarterbacks and receivers. It's not a defensive drill. Come on. It's not a defensive drill. You're teaching Hurts pocket presence, and he's making $50 million a year. Always been my take, DFW. Always been my take. They rushed the paying of him. I'm not paying that either. He's nowhere near a $50 million a year guy. He's nowhere near that. The guy in Arizona's not. But you can't sound like an old dude because that's the money. Dude, Derek Carr's not a $38 million guy either. Okay? He's not. But it's what it is. Okay? It's just all the picks are over the middle, Sills, not the long ball. I know. had an 8 quarterback rating last year across the middle. Absolutely. All quarterbacks learn from year to year. Even Brady said that. Correct? Yes. Right. I know. They're working the middle of the field due to his inability to read blitzes and defenses. That's why. Why not drop AJ in the slot more? Jason Cole will join us at the bottom of the hour here. Hurts is missing all the deep throws too. Everything is checked down. That's what's being said right now. Everything is checked down. That's right. Which means to me they could also be preparing for Barkley to be part of what that's going to look like this coming fall. Again, is anything being validated? No, right now? No, of course not. They would be predictable, don't you think, Sills, if we put AJ in the slot? Martin, you could also put AJ in the slot for a decoy. Couldn't you? And then throw to one of the numbers or to Saquon out of the backfield. AJ's value is not just throwing to him. He's also a tremendous decoy because you've got to here's the people on your offense, Martin, that I'm concerned about. If I'm a defensive coordinator, here's who I'm concerned about. Am I concerned about Hurts running anymore? No. I don't have to leave a spy in. And I can cheat if I'm a linebacker now, whereas in 2022, I had to cheat up on the line of scrimmage because of the threat of run. Now that he's not, I'll give up 4 big runs by him in a game. Remember, most defenses today are control and contain. He's not going to run the ball 18 times a game anymore. That's not what they want him to do. So I'm not going to defend that. He gets it, he gets it. Now, if it gets to a trend where the attempts are getting back up near 15 or 18, like in 22, where he was on pace before he missed those games for 200 carries, you realize that. Jalen Hurts in 22, when he went to the MVP conversation, the true MVP conversation, he was on pace for 200 carries. That's as many carries as Miles Sanders had that year. I mean, when I'm a defender and I know he's going to carry the ball 7 times, I'm going to go, he's going to make some runs. I'm not going to defend that though, because I'm going to cheat back because why? You're going to want to get the ball to Y and Z, Dante and AJ. It's number 1 and 2 priorities is to get the ball to them, which in my opinion, it should be the number 1 priority, should to be exactly what they do in San Francisco. Let me ask you this, guys. Oh, I do too, Bob. I think he's, hey, Prince, let me ask you this. Kyle Shanahan does one thing every game. What's that? He establishes CMC. And everything runs out of CMC. Everything. The entire offense is fueled out of him. The Philadelphia Eagle offense is not fueled in the run game and starts in the run game. It starts on the perimeter. You are not going to win Super Bowls throwing the ball from the perimeter and not establishing it. The greatest show on turf, who was the most important person in the huddle? Who do you think was the most important person that was in the huddle? Who do you think was the most important that was in that huddle? Not the quarterback. Not Isaac Bruce. Marshall Faulk. You know who said that? Do you know who said that to me? The guy who said that to me was Mike Martz and Dick Vermeil. That offense was established through the running game. You've got to establish Saquon Barkley. You establish Barkley, it'll make Hurts' life easier. Okay? And they will win more ball games. This is why I said this about the Cowboys. The Cowboys will win 5 games. Because if you think that you're really going to run the football with a relic, like Zeke Elliott, and you think you're going anywhere with Zeke Elliott, you're going nowhere with that. That's why when you're on 7-on-7 and you're seeing him struggle right now, and they're working on 2.3, and they're working on that check down game is set up for Barkley. Now, look, I think they're going to really lean on him, and they're really going to lean on Barkley. Hey, DFW, you can't rely on Zeke, man. He's not going to carry the mail for you. Zeke is only going to be used in short yardage. Okay, well then DFW, who's the other guy in from 20 to 20? Who's the guy that's going to carry the mail for the Cowboys from 20 to 20? The Eagles got a guy that they can count on from 20 to 20, and he's pretty good in the red zone. Look, I'll say this about Barkley. Do I think he is the end-all? No, I do not. He has never lived up to that number 2 overall pick when he was drafted by the Giants. Now, the Giants have had a shitty team. I get it. I totally get it. But he's never looked to me to be a world beater. Like when I watch him, hey, for the record, has Barkley ever beaten the Cowboys? Has he ever been on a team that beat the Cowboys? I mean, has Barkley ever won against Dallas in his time in New York? I can't remember the last time that the Giants and Barkley ever beat the Giants. Am I wrong when I say that Saquon Barkley's never been on a team that beat New York, that beat Dallas? I mean, if the Eagles come out with run-first offense, utilizing motion, Brown and Smitty moving around into the slot, and use play action, they would be unstoppable. Absolutely dual threat. I think you move those. Hey, if Jalen Hurts is having issues in the middle of the field right now, okay, and they're having issues in the middle of the field, move around AJ. Move him with motion. Okay? Do that. Move him around. All right. Let's get to week 4. That's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got these guys in week 4. I believe this is heading into the bye. Am I right? The best Eagles played last year was the Vikings game because they established a run with Swift and the Vikings got worn down. Very true. So, hey, Barkley, welcome to the Eagles. Barkley is 0-10 versus Dallas. Wow, I didn't realize that. Hey, Sills, could be Wentz Hurts Super Bowl. What are you saying? If Mahomes gets hurt in Kansas City, both Super Bowl appearances came when we established the run, Sills. Absolutely, Prince. Absolutely. Hey, Prince, where are we in the likes right now? Thank you, by the way, for the super chat. Both Flexen and Eagles. Thank you, guys. You guys automatically go to the top, and I appreciate that. Had no idea Barkley never beat Dallas. Bob, I heard that. I thought I heard that. 154, guys. You guys are way ahead of pace. Please kick it up. We'd like to get to 200 by the end of the program. Nobody beating Kansas City, unfortunately. You know what? Not another slot guy? How about this? Man, there's no way in hell they're winning 3 in a row. I'm betting against Mahomes. No way. No way. I can't believe they'll win. If he wins 3 in a row, that'll be the greatest accomplishment in pro football history by an NFL team. The Kansas City Chiefs will go down as the greatest football team of all time if they win 3 in a row. Because they would have went through a $175 million offense, or they would have went through one of the best rosters of all time in Eagle history, one of the best rosters in 49er history. I'll tell you something. Hey, Niner all day. Are you in here? The San Francisco 49ers. Okay? Sills, you suck at that. Really? I picked you to go to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Okay, let me ask you this. Niner all day. You in here? I want to throw this at you here. The San Francisco 49ers the last 2 years, this is a better roster than Joe Montana had. This is a better roster. It's a better roster than those legendary teams that won 5 Super Bowls. The only difference is the Hall of Fame quarterbacks. But the rosters are better. You got more star-studded players on these 49er teams now than you did in the 90s when you won all those Super Bowls. The difference is Montana. And Walsh is a better play caller. Walsh is a better play caller. You had Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, and Montana. And who else? Today, you don't have offensive linemen like Trent Williams in those Niner teams. You don't have defensive linemen like you have right now. But if that Kansas City team wins 3 in a row, it's the greatest football team of all time. 3 Super Bowls in a row in a salary cap era. Something that we've never seen in pro football history. Last team to win 3 championships in a row were the Lombardi Packers, 65, 66, 67. Okay? Lane Johnson isn't an all-timer? No. He's a Hall of Famer. But would he be on my starting 5 in pro football history? Absolutely not. Offensive lineman? No. Okay? No. Let's see. The NFL will use that for marketing. They will. That's why I say Josh Allen is like that, because Purdy got a crazy roster. Josh got to get a roster like that. Wayne, if Josh Allen, but the reason you have Josh Allen is so you don't have to spend the equity that the Eagles and the Niners have to spend. And get this, think about something too, Wayne. The Eagles and the Niners have spent so much money. They just gave McCaffrey $19 million, right? Well, they gave McCaffrey $19 million, and what has it resulted in with the Eagles and the Niners? It's resulted in no championships. So no matter how much money you spent, you were still not going to catch KC yet. That's the difference. You have to spend so much money just to stay in the room with them. It's remarkable. If your quarterback is not one of the guys that can keep you in a game and win no matter what happens to your skill set guys, then guess what? Here, would we not agree this? Would we not agree to this? The level of, Xander, I don't know if you agree with this also. The level of Brady and the number 2, number 3 quarterbacks in the league, how big do you think that gap was? You think it was really huge? How about the gap now? I say the gap between, I say this to you. One thing I'll say before we get Jason Cole on. I say to you, the gap between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and, say, Roethlisberger and those dudes was not as wide as it is now between Mahomes and the quarterbacks that are in the National Football League. Kansas City, if they win this Super Bowl, you're theoretically talking about something here that might just make them the greatest football team of all time. Let's see if Jason is in a position where he can sit down here and we can get him on here with us here. Jason Cole, now our NFL insider. Hey, Jason, how you doing, brother?
I'm great. What's going on, Dan?
Do you agree right now, if that Kansas City team wins 3 in a row, would you dub that team the greatest football team of all time?
Let me put it this way: it's the greatest achievement that any team has ever done. Greatest team of all time doesn't account for eras and roster sizes and style of play. Like, if you put this Chiefs team against the 49ers team that went 15-1, what was that, 87-88, something like that?
Yep.
What's that like? If you put them up against, say, the Broncos' second of back-to-back teams.
98.
If you put them up against... Now, it's a whole different set of rules in the 70s with the Steelers. But what's that look like? That's why, the game changes, the personnel changes, the way that teams play changes. So I always get hesitant saying that. But I would say this. Winning 3 in a row in this era is every bit as impressive as what the Patriots did over almost a 20-year period of time.
I agree.
That and the Patriots are right up there over that 20-year period of time with their championships. But 3 in a row in a 32-team league with free agency and the movement that you have, it would be an extraordinary thing. But you make a great point. Like, it's Mahomes, and then there's like a huge step down to the next best quarterback.
Jason, do you think that gap is wider now than it was during the Brady era?
Yeah, I think it's wider now. I think it's look, the depth of the quarterbacks during the Brady era, where you had Peyton and Eli and Roethlisberger and Drew Brees,
Rivers
and Rivers. Like, Rivers never sniffed the Super Bowl, right? And he's a damn good player, right? And like, that's and Aaron Rodgers in that era for most of his career, and some Brett Favre in there, and then you tail end of Aikman and all those guys. That's the greatest era of quarterbacking of all time.
Yeah.
And right now we're in a transition out of that period where we've lost a bunch of those guys, and there are a bunch of young guys waiting to step up, but it's not nearly as deep. It's just not. It's not there. And that's not to say that they're bad players. It's just not the huge, deep collection of them. I mean, we're going to have more Hall of Famers at quarterback who played in the last 20 years than any era in the history of the game. When you go forward, say 6 to 10 years, there'll be more guys who come out of that late 90s to late 2010s, 2018, 2019, 2020 period of time.
Do you think, Jason, that hurts the people's cases? And just to kind of go off script a little bit, that hurts cases like for Ken Anderson and them guys?
Yeah, it does. It dwarfs. Those guys dwarf the guys who played in the 70s. And it's not the guys in the 70s aren't.
He was great.
He's a great player. Yeah. But he's not in that level, and the game, and sadly, here's the other thing. The game didn't allow him to be at that level. The game was played primarily in a shoebox.
Yep.
When I say that, yeah, you're running the ball. You're playing in areas that are, the deepest safety is 15 to 20 yards at most, right? And the corners are big, and they're manhandling people, and it's just power guys in the middle everywhere, right? it's just a slugfest kind of a game. And so that game doesn't allow Ken Anderson to be that guy. Jim Hart was a terrific quarterback then, playing under Coryell for a period of years.
MVP,
and then
I believe.
I can't remember, but yeah, that sounds familiar. Then you get Dan Fouts, right? Because Coryell goes out to San Diego and it takes the same offense and surrounds him with weapons. So it's just a different era. But Mahomes stands out in any era.
Yeah.
Right. And then he's got Reed, and he's got a great tight end. And for a lot of that time, he had, Tyreek Hill, and now he's
very underrated, Jason. They got Spagnuolo too. Where on that side, here's a guy that's got 4 Super Bowl wins.
Steve Spagnuolo is one of the most underrated coaches of all time. Really, truly underrated coach of all time.
That's the beauty of that KC team is the coaching and the quarterback play is so much of a gap with everyone else.
Yeah, well, look, Spags. The thing that makes Spags great is not just that he's a great schemer and a great teacher, and the defense morphs over the course of a year and morphs over a period of time if you allow him to keep a few guys, and has this base of knowledge to work with among his players. The thing about Spagnuolo is that he's an amazing lieutenant, right? Like, you've never heard peeps from him. He said, "Oh yeah, sure. If I had another chance to be a head coach, I'd love it." But he's not out there getting people to politic for him, and he's not ever trying to do anything that would remotely undermine Andy Reid or any of those kinds of things that you hear about in other places where you have great accomplished defensive coordinators who are in earnest about trying to become head coaches or become head coaches again. Spags is perfect for that situation, and a perfect alignment between him and Andy Reid.
Couple last questions for you, Jace. This is something that you brought up, Jason, and I got to hand it to you, dude. On top of your game as always, and this is a great example of this here. You were right about Cousins, and how about this? Are you going to really tell me that Christian McCaffrey at $19 million is not as valuable as a guy like Justin Jefferson at $35 million, where this guy is the engine of that 49er offense, and he in theory is going to be paid half the money on what that guy's going to generate, and he's never going to sniff a Super Bowl.
Yeah, maybe. Look, there's a couple things at work here.
Does a McCaffrey deserve to be in that room with $35 million?
Deserve is different from how the game is played. And when I say the game, I'm talking about both the game on the field and the game of contracts, right, and leverage. Okay, McCaffrey already get paid one time, so he's already on a long-term deal. So
I'm sounding like a player. I get it.
And you are. And I'm not sitting here saying that Justin Jefferson is worth twice as much as McCaffrey, but Justin Jefferson hasn't gotten paid yet, and McCaffrey did get paid once already. But the second thing this is how this works. Running backs just don't make money in this league. They don't have.
It's different though.
That's just the way it is. Okay, then play out your contract and wait to get to free agency. If you want to get your top dollar and get your true value, wait to get to free agency. And guess what? Running backs can't do that because you know what the injury rate looks like for those guys. So he's got to take the money while he can. The biggest problem you have for running backs is the 4 or 5 years that they are supposed to get paid and get premium dollars are the years that they're under rookie contracts. Right? So by the time you get to a second contract, the team's already sitting here going, well, you already got, 2,000, 3,000, 3,500 carries or whatever, I'm sorry, you've got 1,500 carries or touches already after 4 or 5 years. The odds are that you're not going to play it out. So we're not going to pay you. And that's just how that works. The other thing in the functional way that football is played, and you understand this as a defensive lineman, especially, is when you're playing so much spread formation offense, it's easier to be a running back in that world because you've created geometry that that creates gaps that, you know, just guys can gain 1,000 or 1,200 yards. Guys were, and yeah, Christian McCaffrey's way more than just a guy. To me, he reminds me a lot of, when he's running, he's a lot like Curtis Martin. But he's Curtis Martin with a little bit better quickness, not great straight line speed anymore, but, you know, and Curtis didn't have great straight line speed. And the thing that he has over Curtis is he's a true receiver.
I think he's more like Marcus Allen.
That's a good comp too. I think Marcus though was a little bit better in short yardage at certain times.
Yeah, he was a better
because he's a bigger guy. You know, Marcus was 6'2". He wasn't necessarily huge at 6 foot, you know, like he wasn't broad shoulder. He wasn't a power runner, but he could get you short yardage stuff. And I just look, this is not the era for running backs to make money. Or if you want running backs to make money, guess what? You have to change the whole draft system and the whole salary structure, which would be actually fair. Like I've always toyed with, what if we turned like the draft into an auction? You know, like, you know, the teams that are the worst have the most amount of money to spend.
That draft would look a lot different.
Now, it would look ugly in certain ways because it would remind people of slave auctions, and that would be ugly. Okay, and I get there's bad. There are some.
You know what though, Jason? You know what though? I'd be okay if those numbers had $50 million that I'm getting money. That's a little different.
I understand that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just some optics to it that aren't very good. But let me just say this. If you had an auction draft and you say, okay, you're going to sign guys for, you know, 3, 4, 5 year contracts, right? And you keep some of the contract rules the way they are, running backs would make a whole lot more money.
Old linemen would dominate the draft too.
Well, the quarterbacks would still dominate the draft, and the traditional positions would still dominate the draft. But the one place where money would get funneled, where it doesn't get funneled right now, is to running backs. Or transitively, you get running backs on shorter term contracts so that they could get back to the table earlier, which is what you really need to do. So, I mean, I've always like toyed with that concept. Now, I think that the league would never go for it, but optics. The optics are bad, and they don't want it so that it seems like one team's cornering the market or anything like that. And also, the NFLPA would have to worry because you'd have a bunch of guys who would get just minimum contracts. And
absolutely.
But it would be fun, it would be interesting, and certain guys would get paid.
Final question for you. Larry Allen, I'm going to make this comment to you, and you tell me if I'm off base. I say that Larry Allen is the greatest offensive lineman in the last 35 years that we've seen in the NFL. There's no one better than him.
Oh, there's some left tackles in there. I would like if you just said
you got Orlando Pace in there.
I got Orlando Pace. You got Baselli. You got Walter Jones. Steve Hutchinson's awful good.
Jonathan Ogden.
Jonathan Ogden right there. But I would just say this about Larry Allen. Larry Allen was the greatest leverage offensive lineman of all time. Like nobody was going to out-muscle him on leverage. No one. And if he wanted to road grade you, he was going to road grade you. He was going to treat you
and intimidating.
Oh, he was going to ragdoll you all day long. Especially if you really pissed him off. If you want to just say, let's play and you make some plays and I'm going to like, you could live to see another day against Larry Allen. But if he said, I want to destroy you, he would destroy you. There was a goal line play one time where I guess the defensive tackle must have ticked him off and he tried to go lower than him and, like get to the knees. Larry scooped him and ran him all the way through the end zone. Oh. Like he took him and said, I'm going to put you in the stands, basically. Right. It was sort of like Ty Law against Marvin Harrison, throwing him into the Gatorade bath, but it was an offensive lineman doing it to a defensive lineman, like Brahma Bulls. And one Brahma Bull says, I'm just going to out-muscle you completely.
Well, I'll use a Gronk line. He threw him out of the club.
Oh, Larry Allen was special, man. Larry Allen was truly, truly special. And I would argue maybe the greatest guard of all time. And you can put him up against John Hanna, Steve Hutchinson, a bunch of other guys.
Matthews.
Matthews. You can put him right up there against any of those guys, and maybe the greatest of all time. Greatest offensive lineman, period. That's hard to go against left tackles.
Jason, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you taking time.
Anytime, dude. Be good.
You got it. Our good friend Jason Cole, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, and our friend from Yahoo Sports. All right. Hit the like button. I haven't gotten to the week 4 opponent for the Eagles. That is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Xander, where are we in the likes count right now? Where are we? 163. We are 37 away, guys. 37 away with about an hour and 15 minutes left to get to 200 likes. Guys, I appreciate you guys very much so. We'll take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the game, I believe, before the bye. Week 5 bye, if I'm not mistaken. We'll take a look at that. We'll reset at the top. We'll get a little more intel of what happened today at day 2. We'll have more tomorrow. But we will get a little bit more. Some people are sending me some information about how practices went today over there at the NovaCare Center. So we got some more intel. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills. Okay. Here's some of the takeaways from today's. Please hit the like button. By the way, we've been just given by the big man himself. We could do shows from the Cowboy camp and Rams camp. So we may be doing that. I'll have to check with the guys on availability. They're in Oxnard and there with the Rams. So we'll do some stuff there with that. Okay, day 2. Hurts was not great. Continues to struggle. Most of the completions have been checkdowns. Missed 2 deep throws. All the throws were incompletes. Hurts overthrew Brown the entire day. Picked the read. Made bad decisions. The defense has won the first 2 days. Keely Ringo continues to kill it. Looks like DeJean got some reps with the first team and was very active. Mitchell got first team reps. And I'll say this to you. This is a personal note. If you're Vic Fangio, you've got to be pretty happy with what you've seen so far with your corner play and their ability. Okay? You have to be excited about that. Hey, Prince, you in here? Prince. Prince, you in here? I hope Prince is in here still. Because this goes to his comment on Devin White. It looks like Vic Fangio's taking a shine to him in practice. And it looks to me that Devin White is enjoying being coached by Vic Fangio. So, Prince, to your point, maybe they had given up on him when he was in Tampa. Maybe the relationship with Todd Bowles wasn't going well, but it looks like that Vic Fangio has taken a shine to him. Other teams have us marked on schedule. Our offense is dependent on Hurts, and I'm wait and see, but NFL defensive coordinators are going to live game plan against the Eagles. Live game planning. So Prince, Prince may be right here. Wait's got to show me too. I'm with you. I'll tell you something right now. Vic Fangio's making an impact. Here's something else. Barkley was involved in the passing game today, as I thought he would. Finally say Fangio knows defense. I'm not going to fucking say the obvious, Arthur. He knows defense. He's been in the league 34 years. What do you mean finally say? What do you want? Slaps on the back because he's been in the league 100 years? Get out of here. So stupid. You look for small little victories, small little backslaps. Crazy? You're not in this league 55 billion years if you don't know something. How dumb. Small little backslaps, huh, dude? I must turn you on. Here is troubling. They don't believe in Nolan Smith. At this point, Nolan Smith, limited reps and not showing anything. And learned from you, Sills. Touche. Touche. So wait a minute. Are you troubled about Nolan Smith getting limited reps? Because you know what that means. That means Vic is telling you when you get limited opportunities in a minicamp and a coach doesn't want to see you, that's because he doesn't trust you. It'll come out. How do you know that? When you get limited reps, because I've been in minicamp and I've got limited reps and I got a ton of reps. When you get limited reps, what do you think they're saving him? Yale? He got limited reps today. What were the words? He's not getting any reps. Is he hurt? At this point, the two linebackers inside still remains White and Braun. And Dean's a backup. Good. They're working on punt return. Covey, Isaiah Rodgers, Smith kid, Gardner Johnson. Gardner Johnson as a kick returner. Those are some of your takeaways. But seriously, if the thing that you have to really love about this is the corners have been the stars of camp. DeJean looked good today. He got a lot of reps. Ringo's active in the secondary. Hey, man, Keely Ringo is becoming a player. Like, he's a player in this discussion now. I'll have more tomorrow. That's really a great comments that are being made by coaches that you're hearing that the corners are getting reps and they're producing and they're winning against the offense. This is a drill that favors everything offensively. Okay? Everything is set up to win offensively, and the defense is ahead. Fangio is out coordinated because the only people you're going against, you're not installing the Packers offense. You're going against the Eagles offensive plays that they're going to start installing versus the defense scheme that they're installing, and Vic's coaching the pants off of Kellen Moore right now. I like this right here where is that? Where's that text? Yeah, Mitchell, Dejean, and Ringo had great days. White and Braun are the starting inside linebackers. You're not going to really get a lot of looks when it comes to the D line right now. Yeah, a little bit, Yale. Drafting these corners is creating competition, and it will show. Keely Ringo's ready to play. So the pass defense might be far better than last, is what you're saying. The coaches from, yes, Ibanez. Ibanez, when you're winning a 7-on-7 drill and you know how many times, guys, I have been at a mini camp where I've seen the defense ahead of the offense? Never. Not when you're playing pitch and catch. Yeah, when Yale goes like this, wait till the pads. Yeah, when you get to chuck them, first 5 yards, you get to be a little more physical with them. You get to slow them down. You get to jam them. So many bodies. Ringo, Rogers, Mitchell. Fly goes, what's the plan? I don't really think they know what the plan is. Let me get another one here. The Nolan Smith thing is very troubling. Very troubling. But again, one more time to reiterate here. Chills, you think the Eagles extend Becton? I want to see Becton first. I think they probably like his versatility because he's playing guard today. Again for Landon. Yeah, hey, Devontae, it's a good take. The control scrimmage you're talking about with New England coming up in July and in either July or August. August. Guys, please hit the like button. Thank you very much, Fly. One more time here with Jalen. This is day 2. It's another bad day. Okay? This is another bad day for him. Why is he struggling? I'm not there to give more of an insight. I've got guys who are there. The new plays are confusing him. 90% of the passes he completed were all between 5 and 10 yards. The deep throws, he struggled all day. Bad decision making. Numerous times today. By the way, the stuff that I'm saying will be echoed if anybody has any credibility in that city on what they saw today. He got to be so predictable that even Cooper DeJean was reading Jalen Hurts' body motion in the pocket. He's a rookie. That's My overall, that's what I'm being told. Your boy Hurts is blowing up. Or how about this? Let me back it up. Your boy Hurts is not picking up what they're asking him to do. Again. Now, is that a product of Vic? Probably. Probably. Is that a good sign? Again, make sure you understand something. The Eagles have put OTAs in and this mandatory minicamp in for one thing, and it's the first minicamp for the greatest head coach in Eagle history, according to LJ. This is his first mandatory minicamp. You would want your quarterback to show that, hey, at least do minicamp right. It's been brutal. Dick Train goes, it's called practice, and he sucks at it. Your boy can't practice. He hasn't practiced well, and he hasn't played well in the last 5 months. It's probably nothing. And he's struggling picking up some of the new components they're adding to the 23 offense. This guy is not a pocket passer. He is the guy you gave. Xander said it. He's the guy you paid for in 22. What are you doing? You are trying to make this guy into something. Dude, if you went back and coached him the way you did in 22, I would never be here with this. I would never be saying he will never be the quarterback you think he's going to be. He is never going to be that. Your coach, he can't even play catch. Sills, what do you want the Eagles to call in practice? Option run plays? RPO plays. That's what you mean. Yeah, go back to that. Denny, the RPO made him a better passer. They took that one element away, and now guess what the Eagles think they're going to do? They're going to cover it with a $10 million running back. That's not going to fix Hurts. He's not going to be a pocket guy to win Super Bowls. He is a dual threat quarterback. My boy Xander said something that I've been saying for 3 years. I'll take 9 years of Jalen Hurts. He gets hurt, never plays again, wins you 2 Super Bowls, and he has a 10-year career versus a 15-year career where he is Tyrod Taylor. It just doesn't make sense. You are doing something to this player that doesn't need to be done. You did it the same shit to Wentz. This is way overcooking. I'm sorry that I'm actually sorry I'm here for this. I don't mean to be like this, right? Because you know why? This is sad. You have a really good player. Hey, folks, you have a really good football player in Jalen Hurts. Too bad you're doing the wrong thing with him. Hey, let me ask you something. You think you can coach a player into being a bad player? You guys told me last year that was the case. Didn't you tell me that? Bad coaching last year, right? How about bad philosophy? Look at this kid. We'll be fine. No, you won't. No way. No way. No way. Wow. This thing, I'm with Angelo. Not 5 wins, but I'm right there, Angie. Yale goes, not panicking, still time to put everything together. Well, you got 55 days until the start of training camp, less than 2 months. You got 94 days, 3 months to September 6th. Packers. Yale. I'll ask you, Yale. You think 55 days to training camp, they'll have this eradicated with 1 more day? And then in the next 90, do you think in the next 94 days, as they get ready for Green Bay, you think they'll have this thing figured out in the next 94 days? Do you yell? 94 days, this will be resolved with 1 more day of organized practice, or 55, because you're going to get into training camp. I wonder what that training camp's going to look like. Q, thank you, sir. Call me delusional, but wouldn't you want your quarterback to struggle in OTAs and do better in season? He's checking down, something you were saying he should do more of. I'm trying to be optimistic. Nothing wrong with what you're saying here, Q. I'm not dismissing this. I don't think the team will be any different in 3 months. It's not what they are. It's a philosophical thing. The coach isn't changing because the coach has no autonomy. Q, to your point, I've never seen 7-on-7. 7-on-7. You understand something? 7-on-7 doesn't, it's not a defensive drill. It's not. And then when you add physicality to it, how about this? Here's the 2 things from what they're saying he's struggling on. The 2.3 seconds in the pocket and deep throws. And he's doing well on checkdowns. Okay. Okay. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I do not believe the team will be any different. I do not. I think the defense may be different because there's some, I'll tell you this. That's a really great conversation. Here, I think what you're really going to have. Hey, you want optimism? This is optimism. Your defense is way ahead of where I thought it would be right now on June 5th and July 27th, right around the corner. That's really great conversation coming out of Eagle OTAs, is how the defense is looking. That's really fabulous. Devin White, the corners. I mean, that's great. That's phenomenal. Okay? I mean, you should be taking that and going, yeah, right, man. You know, there is a silver lining to this thing. Take one step further. The organization hurt him, his knee injuries and MCL, by trying to take a running quarterback into a passing quarterback, lateral movement by trying to change the dude. I feel bad for dude. Kimberly, this guy is a weapon. Like 22. He's a weapon. As what they're doing now, he's not special. Ringo, a long way from barbecue chicken. How you doing? Absolutely. Take that, Tone. I know you want. Hey, big sales. Hey, Mitchell, he's really performing exceptionally well at camp. I mean, Vic Fangio, Clint Hurt, and everyone are going like this, and he's standing out in film. And he's standing out like decision-making. He got beat, where is it? He got beat on a play today, and he was so good. And I brought something up, and I'm sorry I'm going to do this. Please forgive me. I brought something up and I said, so you're telling me he did a wheel in the middle of the field? He goes, he set Hurts up, did a wheel. He cheated to one side, set Hurts up, knew he was going to come over and deflected a pass. I said, that's Ed Reed shit. He goes, don't ever say that. I go, I know. That's Ed Reed stuff. That's great. Great. Hey, take that side of what I'm saying. Guys, even Devin White is showing up. I think you guys are so, dude, who gives a fuck about how you feel about Jalen? He needs to play better. He needs to be better. Here, Keely Ringo's doing well. You're not happy about that? Nolan Smith is sucking. He needs to step his ass up. Okay? But your corner play right now in camp has looked exceptional. That's a great thing. Third most important position on the field. So, freaking up my name, Sills. It's Big Marshall. Excuse me, sir. I apologize. Hey, excuse me. I apologize. Okay? Hey, look at Alex. F the feelings. Show me the money. Fat Mac Philly. We were a top 8 offense, you big dummy. And you lost 7 to 8 games at the end of the year, you dumbass. About time Jalen is practicing against a solid defense in practice. Okay? Eagles should have brought in Greg Roman. No, I think they should have brought in Cliff Kingsbury. Okay, yeah, that's right. Greg Roman. That's right. He was the OC when they won that first MVP. What's happening with Reddick in New York? We'll find out next week, because mandatory minicamp for the Jets is next week. It's not this week. Seals, does his defense have a chance against Green Bay? I'm more optimistic. Seals, you think Hurts has asked about bringing back the RPO system? No, because they're still doing the same shit that they did a year ago, but only they're adding more confusion to 23. They're not going, what I hear has to be the most frustrating thing. By the way, Taylor says I'm lying. I guarantee you every single thing that I said will come out that people who were there said that Jalen did not look good today. He missed deep passes. The secondary looked great. Nolan Smith is not playing well because he's not getting a lot of reps, which means Fangio doesn't believe in him. It'll come out. Don't worry. You'll hear it tomorrow. We're here first to tell you right now. Okay? How is Nolan Smith's shoulder will ever be right? Operated, but has he healed properly? Hey, Chuck. I mean, they drafted 2 guys that were injury prone, Jacoby Dean and Nolan Smith. Okay. Kellen doesn't tailor his offense to his quarterback skill. It's already showing in minicamp. Well, DFW, to be fair to him, that may be something that he's being directed. Thank you, Yale. I appreciate that. It means a lot. Yale, I was the one telling you, Keely Ringo who? Like Big Marshall said. He's just a dude. Well, he's been the superstar of camp. Okay? He's done such an impact that they got him in the starting role. Okay? That's impressive. And White looks like he wants to be here. I agree Jalen has to play better this upcoming season. But where I disagree is that this is his last year to fix it. Great offense, yes. Bottom 5 defense. I don't know, man. You know what? I'm not going to go overboard with the defense, but I got to tell you, I love what I'm hearing. Says, what's the chance Joey Bosa gets cut by the? Remember, hey Kyle, isn't it funny, Kyle? I brought this up 4 days ago that the Chargers may cut him. Now they're talking potentially of trading him. All of a sudden, now that's news. Hey, did I not tell you that, Kyle? 3-4 days ago? Right? I told you that. 3-4 days ago that they might do that. They may deal him. Okay, because he is not going to sign for anything less than $35 million like his brother got. He's not. He's not going to. I know the father, John Bosa. John was a former first-round pick himself. That guy held out for $500,000. When I covered the Chargers and Nick Sirianni was wide receiver coach with Frank, he held out for $500,000. $500,000. I'm like, you can make that up in the back end of your incentives. Nope. They held them to he sat out the first 4 games of his first year in the NFL. Go back and look at it. Hey, Brian, I don't know if he's lost a step. He's not Nick, but he's been injury prone. And I don't really personally think he's lived up to that money and that contract he got. Okay. Big Rhythm says Bosa hates Philly fans. Nobody hates anybody when you put $30 million in front of them. Hey, Rhythm, 1970 and 1980, that may happen. But in today's NFL, you put a $30 million paycheck in front of somebody, okay? You'll love anywhere. You play on the moon. Sounds like Kellen is trying to find out what Jalen struggles. That DFW, that could be too. Harbaugh is trimming the fat at getting the roster lean. Yeah, well, he better win games too. $17 million he's making. Hey, that's a good point. Cosmo Sills, Sills, what about Hendrickson? He's talking about the Bengals end. I don't know what that status is. I'll have to double check there. Duke Tobin's really a weird guy to deal with, and so is that whole Bengal organization. They look at their players like they're bars of gold, and they want king's ransoms. I mean, I can't believe Bates got down to Atlanta. I can't believe that whole thing worked out that way, that he got down to Atlanta. Seals, what is the best way to improve Jalen's read progressions? Kellen doesn't help him. Hey, a bite of life. I think Kellen's going to try to move with motion. That's why I said the other day, put AJ in that slot a couple times. Move. If Jalen can't move the personnel himself around, move the personnel around yourself if you're Kellen. Move guys around. Drop 8. Even if you don't throw the ball to Devontae in the slot, put him down in there. Give a defense something to think about. Don't make me so You know what? That's the one thing Brian Johnson should have did. Instead of with the predictability, put AJ over in that slot. How about this? You can be predictable if you want. Just don't look it. How about that? I did watch the Brandon Graham interview. Brandon Graham saying last year, the coaches we had were not in the right positions. And Howie's now fixed it. It seems. Why in the world are you changing Hurts, hiring inferior coaches? What would possess that move? I know that, guys, I know this is a hindsight conversation. But can I ask you this? Why in the world would you sign a guy to a $250 million deal, hire inferior coaches, put an inferior coordinator around him? I asked you this. You said everything would be okay. I said, no way. I said Brian Johnson has never been a coordinator, and you think that's going to work? And you all went, yes. You all did. And I said, not a chance. And now he's coming back. Now you're talking about after the fact Monday morning quarterbacking Brandon Graham. Well, we had bad coaches in positions that didn't help us. Howie Roseman did that. Because I'll tell you what, you know why you know now that Howie Roseman, get this. Do we agree with this one? With that Brandon Graham comment? With that Brandon Graham comment, okay? That Brandon Graham comment. Because sometimes, hey, Yale, watch this one. Okay. So Brandon Graham says that we had coaches last year not in the right position. Well, if if Nick Sirianni had hired those guys, wouldn't you have fired the head coach for putting incompetent coaches in a position that you just gave a guy $50 million to a year? Wouldn't you have? Wouldn't you have fired him for the implosion and the hiring of poor coordinators? Now you know all those decisions are being made by Roseman. It's an emphatic statement by Brandon Graham that all of those decisions, and he even says, it seems Howie's fixed it. You now know. When Xander and I were talking about the Psy and Nick's decision to remove him, never. He put him there. He probably made Nick fire him. But those were Howie's calls. That's why Nick's not fired. Nick's not fired because that 2023 implosion was on Roseman. That's why he's never been held accountable for it. And you guys are crowing around like he is the greatest thing you've ever seen. That last year is his fault. 100%. Player accountability too. 50-50 will go. It's not Nick's. Nick had nothing to do with the success in 22 and had nothing to... You know what? How about this one? Nick Sirianni had nothing to do with the success in 22 and nothing to do with the failure in 23. Is that fair? You think that's fair? And like, hey, and like Angelo said, Jeffrey Lurie is 90%, in his opinion, involved in the day-to-day operations of this football team. You got the owner and Howie pulling the strings. That's why Nick's here. Sills, I think we need another pass rusher. I do too. Brian goes, when Sirianni opens his mouth, I cringe. I hear you. I think he's the worst coach the Philadelphia Eagles have ever had when it comes to being a guy in front of a microphone. I completely agree with that. I wonder how Hunt is going to do off the edge. I'd start getting him reps. See what you got. I know he's a young player, and I know he's a project. But, man, if Nolan Smith is not getting any reps whatsoever and they're not really liking putting him in there, dude, this kid needs all the reps he can possibly get. What are you going to wind him up and let him run into a quarterback on September 6th against the Packers in Brazil? Give me a break. Sills, does positivity on defense change your under on wins? What trade or signing would raise it? Yeah, man, I'll tell you, I'm loving what I'm hearing on what the conversation is coming out of camp so far. I really am about the defense. It's a great sign. It's a sign that Vic is connecting. It's a sign that Vic's connecting. I really dig it. By the way, you should be very excited. If you're the Eagle, you should be exceptionally excited about what you're hearing right now when it comes to the defensive conversation. I mean, these text messages just keep coming in. Let me get another one here for you. Let's do the positive on the defense. I'm just reading some of the comments by the media people that were there. Hurts uneven. Hurts shaky. Good. So the information I'm getting and people are sending to me, you're starting to see echo with Eagle media people that are watching him. And if they're saying that uneven, that means he's been terrible. You don't want to go too crazy because you don't want Bob laying up your ass. So it's good to see that. At least they're trying to do their jobs. Good. I'm not saying good, he sucks. I'm saying good that the guys that are telling me this here. Tim McManus said that Shipley showed great hands today. Here's another text I got from my friend here. Hurts is still telegraphing passes. Denny says Hurts isn't moving the needle right now. Defense is kicking ass, making him think. He needs to settle down. You know what, Denny? I like some of the comments that were made in here earlier. Will it make him better? I believe it will. I believe it will. I believe it will. Georgia players might need to be evaluated differently as to how they will play in the NFL due to conditioning and play more snaps. It's a great take. Davis has been out of shape. Dean's been injured. Smith's been injured. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. And I think that has a lot to do with the rotation that they have down there at Georgia. They have so many great and fine ball players down there that eventually, you have so much rotation. Are you really getting game reps? How many reps are you getting in a normal game when you play at Georgia? Hey, I've got to take a timeout. We'll take it all the way home. After that, we'll reiterate more. And I still have to hit week 4, which is the Tampa Bay game. Where are we right now, Xander, when it comes to the likes? Where are we on the likes? Seals the best defensive coordinator Eagles had was Bud Carson, in my opinion. Bud Carson was one of the creators of the Steel Curtain, okay? 196. You guys are killing it. 196. Thank you, guys. 3 more to get to 200. We could push it above that, too, man. I love you guys for doing that. I remember watching this channel when Hurts went to the Super Bowl. This guy said, we should tank to get Fields and start. I never said Fields. I hated Justin Fields ever since he was at Ohio State. As a matter of fact, dummy, I never in a million years said anything about drafting an Ohio State quarterback. Now, if you would have said, I remember him saying that he hated C.J. Stroud, I'd agree with you because I said that. I would never draft a quarterback from Ohio State, is what I have said from the time in the beginning. And anybody who's in here knows I was wrong about Stroud, not Justin Nobody. Of course, Dick Train. I have never said that about Justin Fields. As a matter of fact, he's blocked me because I said he would never make it in the NFL. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football So.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Wishbone Hurts, baby. Wishbone Hurts season. This thing's scripting out the way exactly I see it. By the way, this Treylon Burks guy that I told you from Arkansas, went to Tennessee, the replacement for AJ, just to show you how bad that move is now, to accentuate it and to put a nail in Tennessee's biggest disaster in the history of their franchise. They've asked Treylon Burks to play special teams. He's fighting for a roster spot. This guy was drafted 18th overall, 2022, to replace A.J. Brown. Hey, sometimes you wish for shit. And get this. This decision, this Treylon Burks and A.J. Brown, was over $4 million. You think Tennessee wouldn't like to go like this instead of offering him $16 million back then? Look at that deal today. Well, the only deal that would impress would be Devontae Smith. Hey, I'll take it. Devontae would take that deal because, he's a good dude and all. Okay. Hey, yeah, that $16 million deal in Tennessee 4 years ago or 3 years ago, that probably looked good to Smith, but hey, who's keeping score here? Now they're telling Treylon Burks, hey, you want to make this team? He's fighting for a roster spot. You understand that? And this was over $4 million. All you had to do was give the guy $4 more million in an offer, and he wanted to stay there. The guy wanted to stay there. Nope. GM loses his job. Head coach loses his job. The player sucks, and you lose AJ. Whew. Howie's greatest trade? Yeah. I'll tell you what, that Slay trade's not a bad trade either. He's been in the Pro Bowl every year he's been in Philly. That's not a bad trade either. The Gardner Johnson trade, the first deal that he got with New Orleans when he was making $800,000 is a great deal. That was a great move. Okay. Well, DFW, I got to keep everything above board, don't I, brother? Can't lose hey, I can't sell myself like ESP or some of those guys at IP. I can't sell my soul just for an organization, for someone not to call my bosses up. Just like Ali says, my friend, hey, man, if people are complaining about me and people are saying shit about me, I know I'm doing it right. I know I'm doing it right. Wishbone Hurts, funny. AJ Owens, kind of funny. Hey, let me guess. What are you, a critic? Hey, Brandon. Brandon's the new comedic critic in here for JAKIB. Wishbone Hurts, funny. AJ Owens, kind of funny. Making fun of Smith for a team-friendly deal. When you praise Brady for his... Dude, once again, he's not... You're missing. Brady took $5 million haircuts. This guy's going to take a $20 million haircut. There's far difference in this. There's a far difference. Yeah, Brady, instead of making $37 million, he made $32. This guy's deal is a deal that's already out. Let me say this to you. Devontae Smith, by the end of the football season, his contract will be 4 years almost outdated. He might not be in the top 20 highest paid receivers in 2 years. Sills will be wearing a Hurts jersey soon. By the way, I'm awake, are you? I'm not there at camp. I'm just listening to what people are saying. You're getting mad at the messenger here a little bit. And I'm actually the second messenger. Don't get mad at me. Hey, Prince, I'm glad you're back. You know what? Here, I want to read you something about your boy, Devin White. I got a text on him today. Prince, he started the program off and I killed him for it. Let me see here. Hold on here. Not that one. Prince, you might be right. See here. I did, Prince. I'm not saying I didn't say it. I said you might be right, Junior. Here you go. Okay, here. This is what they said about Devin. I'm plugged in too, Sills. Oh, okay. Devin White. Looks like he and Vic have connected. He's got the green dot. And he wants to show Vic Fangio that he could be a real force with his pressure style defense. And Vic is constantly going to him. Maybe this is what he wants and needs. It's a good sign. It's really a good sign. But they don't blitz, Prince. They're going to put him in a position to get potentially to the quarterback. Hey, Prince, you know what? If Nolan Smith is not looking as good as they say he's not looking at camp, then guess what? You know what the alternative might be? Why don't they take Devin White out there and rush him off the perimeter? He did have 6 sacks a year too. Why not blitz his ass off the side and put him in a position? Bring Dean back in if he feels that way and put Devin out there in third down and rush him off the perimeter. That's one thing he does exceptionally well is put pressure on the quarterback. Maybe you can create a position. Remember something too. Dallas didn't know that Michael Parsons was a pass rusher until what happened? They had some injury. Hey, DFW, am I right? They didn't know that Michael Parsons was a pass rusher until they got injuries out there. They put his hand in the dirt, and they started watching this guy get to the quarterback. And now they had him doing more things because prior to that, he was not really pressure. They figured it out that he was, and all of a sudden they went, wow. So if you're going to have an issue with an onside rusher outside of Bryce Huff, and you've got to find a guy to give you more pressure, why don't you just put Devin White out there? That's one skill set thing that he does really well. And he runs a 4.4. Put him in that position. Rush him. Never would want Dean. I get that, Fly. But, Fly, sometimes you got to play with the 53 you have, too. You know what I mean? Hey, I don't want Dean out there. Okay, well, then who? You're a slave to your 53-man roster. Nolan Smith has speed to drop back in coverage. That'd be great, Spin, but they're not practicing him. He's not getting quality reps. That's an indictment. That's an indictment when you're not being looked at. So get this, Spin. How do you know that Nolan Smith will be good if you have no game tape on him or practice tape even? You barely have game tape. You barely have game tape. Now you don't have but very little practice tape. How are you going to know he's good? How do you know he can do the job? Those Miami players are actually helping Vic more than they realize by saying those things. You were right. I know Jalen sucks right now, but I see a bigger picture. Okay, Prince, you're not wrong on June 5th. You're not wrong on that. My Cosmo, I never bought into that. I just thought it was a lot of guys. And by the way, I think it's more, you know what I'm thinking now, Cosmo? I think it's more of an indictment on the soft ass culture that Mike McDaniels might have. And that's why every time they get into those big physical games that they got to play against big teams, they get crushed. It might be more of an indictment. I'll tell you, because like I said to you, that Miami Dolphin team, in my opinion, it's like a knockoff Rolex watch. It's not really what it's advertised to be. It's a phony Rolex. Or it's a phony It's a fake Fendi bag. You know, it's not the real deal. Because when they get into games where they have to win, they get smoked. Let me do this week 4 Buccaneer game. So Kyle, I told you, keep an eye on that Joey Bosa story. I do too, Prince. Prince, with practices like that, like you're hearing the great play out of corners, that's going to resonate with the entire defensive personnel and coaches. They're going to feel good about themselves. They should feel good about the entire offseason so far. The OTAs and now the mandatory minicamp, 2 days in, they've had a great offseason. An installing thing, it seems, and communicating. Dude, see, there's silver lining to this. It's not just Jalen. The defense is looking better. Fangio's connecting. Great. Keely Ringo is stepping up. Draft pick for Howie. Wow. Great. There's a lot of good here. It's not all bad. Barkley's getting passes thrown to him. Excellent. I mean, I get it. The glaring thing is Hurts and the deep overthrows and the picks. I get it. Seals, out of all the coach hires, which one is your favorite? Clint Hurt. I'm biased, though. Okay? I'm biased. Buccaneers, week 4 Eagles. Bye is the following week. I think Jason Light has done a really nice job with this Buccaneer roster. From the Super Bowl where they pushed all their chips in, I think the Bucs have done a really nice job at putting this roster together. They signed Mayfield to a 3-year, $100 million deal. He deserving of it? Yes. Is he the answer long term? He is for the next 3 years, or 2 years at least. This is the Eagles' week 4 opponent. They shockingly rethought the whole Mike Evans deal, and they brought him back and they made him look at, hey, by the way, somebody do me a favor. Holy cow. If I'm going to dump on Devontae, somebody do me a favor. Pull up what Mike Evans signed for. Because didn't he just sign, like in February, a new contract extension with the Bucs? And that guy's going to the Hall of Fame. Didn't he sign? I tell you what, it might be less than what Devontae signed. Didn't Mike Evans? I thought I saw Evans signed a contract extension. What was his deal? Because if his deal is anything less than $25 million, he got taken to the cleaners also. This guy's had 10 years. 10 years of 1,000-yard offense. 2 years, 41. Prince, $52 million over 2 with 35 guaranteed. That's a 2-year deal. That's not awful. That's not awful. What's his name? Got 53, Devontae, for a 3-year extension. Am I right? So he got 52. So he's going to make like 25 a year. And he's all right. That's not that bad. That's not that bad of a haircut. Thank you, Madness. I really appreciate that. Bucs are looking for their 4th NFC South title, not saying much. Bucs did a job in their O-lines and D-lines in this recent draft. They got that Graham Barton guy from Duke. Mike is older, Des. It's a good point. You know, you're talking about a 32-year-old receiver. He's not going to get top market dollar. I agree. DFW, that's about right for him at 32. He's going to Canton, though. I think Jason Light here did a nice job at blending, new talent in with some of the older talent. Okay. A lot of new faces. I love Todd Bowles. I love the GM, Jason. I love the fact that we have a great relationship. We should get Bruce Arians on. I think the Bucs can win 10 games. I think that has 10 wins on it. I think they're a good football team. I think that's going to be a pretty good football game in week 4. I think the Saints have a chance because of their shitty roster or their shitty schedule to win 10 games. The Falcons are going to be much improved. I'll tell you what, that first 4 games, you got the Packers, who I think are going to be much improved. The Falcons are going to be much improved. The Saints are going to be much improved. And you've got the Buccaneers, who are going to be improved. Not superstar teams, except for the Packers. But you got some pretty good football teams here. Then you go into the bye, and you come out of the bye, and you got the Browns in Philly at the Link. So, I just imagine if the Chiefs would have gone after Evans or Adams. Boy, I tell you what, Mike Evans on the open market would have put a big number up. But I think that's really cool that, he pulled the Devontae. He goes, I'm 32. I'm going to stay where I'm at. And the Buccaneers did the right thing. They were going to allow that. They were telling that guy in September of last year, hey, we're not going to resign you. I thought it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to be on the open market. Okay. What do you think our record is going into the bye? I think you're 2-2. Guy saves millions just from playing it. Oh, good call, Xander. Dude, he's so right. Watch this. Okay, look at Tyreek Hill's money. Look at Jalen Waddle's money. Who do you really think has a better deal? Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith? Look at the taxes that Devontae has to pay. Now, is his residency Alabama, though? But he still has to pay that state entertainment tax, probably. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know how that. I know that works in Detroit like that because when I was up there for a cup of coffee, I had to pay city tax. And do you want to know what they do now? When you're an NFL player and you play a game in Detroit, do you know what they do? They tax that game check for a city tax of playing in Detroit. So that game, you never want to play in Detroit, in other words. But the amount of money you save, that's why a lot of players like to play. Like look at Stephon Diggs. The amount of money he saves by playing in Houston compared to Buffalo, New York, where New York has some of the highest taxes. Dude, he got a pay raise going to Houston. He got a pay raise. All right. Xander, what do we hit on with the like button here? What do we hit on with the likes? What do we land on here? What do you say, guys? What do we land on here? 212. Kick ass. Guys did it, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I saw something on the schedule for JAKIB. Looks like John McMullen's going to give his observations of day 2 at the OTAs. I'll be interested to listen and watch that as well. Don't forget Farzi tomorrow. Then we have us tomorrow too. Xander, Big Joe, we thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.